Hey, Becca, did you?
So you need to go on mute.
Okay, the meeting's being live streamed. Got it.
Yep, we got it.
All right, there we go. We're gonna start this meeting up. Good afternoon, everyone. All right, for the record, I am Delegate Nick Charles. The time is 4:12 and today is February 19th, 2023. And this is the Prince George's County House Delegation's late filed bill hearing. Just an FYI for everyone, for the late filed bill hearing, we've already had hearings for legislation that's been presented by members of this body, but this is a custom that we typically give. It is not mandatory, but it's a custom that we allow for late filed bills for those bills that were not presented in a timely fashion. This year we had some issues with and technicalities with bill drafting. And so a lot of the bills that you will be hearing today are coming because the bill drafters did not get us the bills in enough time for our hearing back in January. So we have a robust group of bills on the list for today. And so we're going to go ahead and get started. We're going to start with our county affairs bills. And we have Delegate Diana Fennell, who is our chair for county affairs. Delegate Fennell, I'll pass it on to you so that we can move forward with these bills. I'll just give you an FYI that I got a text message from Ms. Parker stating that she will not be testifying on 403-23. So we can go ahead and get your section kicked off.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chair. First of all, good evening to everyone, to the citizen, public, and delegation. The first bill that we have on the docket is Prince George's 403-23, HB 0444, which is Prince George's County Payment in lieu of tax agreement, low income housing. This is from the Chair Charles and County Executive. Shane, can you read the bill, please?
Sure. Good evening, everyone. For the record, Shane Brittner, Counsel to the Delegation. The bill authorizes the governing body of Prince George's County to enter into a payment in lieu of tax agreement with an owner of real property used for low-income housing that is financed through the county's right of first refusal program.
Thank you, Shane. Mr. Chair, we now only have two people that's going to be testifying since Ms. Parker is no longer. We have Prince George's County Executive Office that is here. Who is representing?
I am Angie Rogers, DCAO for Economic Development.
Go ahead. Nice to see you today.
And stand by, I'm sorry, Ms. Rogers. Tasha, can you all set the timer as we stated so that everybody is aware? And 2 minutes. I see the timer in your on your screen.
Okay.
I'm gonna start it right now.
All right, and I will be quick. So as I said, I am Angie Rogers. I'm the Deputy CAO for Economic Development in the County Executive's Office. And we are supportive of this modification to our payment in lieu of taxes bill. As you all know, we have been taking steps to sort of fortify our toolbox of tools that help us create and preserve affordability in Prince George's County. And this bill helps us to fortify that toolbox. We have taken steps in the past 2 years to really create a robust right of first refusal program that helps us preserve affordability. Since we launched in early January 2021, we have preserved almost 2,000 units through our right of first refusal program. And so we are looking for this change to our pilot to help us better utilize it for preservation efforts in the county. So with that, I'll conclude and thank you for the time today.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. We will go to the next witness, which is Mr. Ben Dovers. Is he available? Mr. Bendovas?
Sounds like he's not here.
Okay, we're gonna move on. Is there any questions from the delegation? Okay, having no questions from the delegation, we're gonna move on to our next bill on the docket, which is Prince George's 407-23, HB 1109, Prince George's County Economic Development, Business Improvement Districts. This is by Delegate Jazz Lewis. Shane, can you read the bill?
The bill authorizes Prince George's County or a municipal corporation in the county to adopt a local law to create a business improvement district and authorizing the governing body of the county or municipal corporation to impose a business improvement district tax. Requirements of a local law and the governance structure of a business district are provided under the bill.
Thank you, Shane. Mr. Chair, we have 4 witnesses. We have Mr. James Chandler. Is Mr. Chandler on?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you,
Yes.
Tasha. Can you start the clock? Okay.
Sasha, can you start the clock? Thank you.
Mr. Chandler, go ahead.
Good afternoon, members of the Prince George's County Delegation. My name is Jim Chandler. I serve as Assistant City Administrator and Director of Economic Development with the City of Hyattsville. Here today to testify in support of 407-23, a bill intended to enable the creation of business improvement districts in Prince George's County. Bill is intended to align the regulations and requirements of the formation of a bid with that of neighboring Montgomery County. Bids that you may be familiar with include Downtown Baltimore bid, Capitol Hill bid, NOMA bid, and Silver Spring bid. Bids are private-public organizations that supplement public services within a defined geographical boundary. Bids assess property owners with districts to create collective economic benefits for their members that cannot be achieved otherwise. Bids will enable Prince George's County communities to offer supplemental services, including public safety, branding, enhanced cleaning and beautification, legislative advocacy, placemaking, event programming, and activation. Over the past 2 years, the City of Hyattsville has been assessing the feasibility of creating a bid in and around Hyattsville Crossing Metro Station. Based on our extensive dialogue with our stakeholders, we're confident that this legislation enables businesses, property owners, local government, and even residential property owners, should they choose, to participate in this vision. We thank you for your consideration and look forward to your support of PG 407-23. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chandler. I appreciate that. The next we have the Prince George's County Executive Office. Is Angel, are you representing Rogers? Yes, okay. Can we start the clock, Natasha?
All right, thank you. So Angie Rogers, Deputy CEO for Economic Development in the County Executive's Office again. I want to just align myself with the comments from Jim Chandler from the City of Hyattsville. We are supportive of and excited about their efforts. We have also, over the past year, been engaging in a study for a bid along the Blue Line corridor, which is a corridor, probably as most of you know, has gotten quite a bit of attention and funding from at the state level over the past year. And as we approach sort of redevelopment, revitalization within that corridor, have felt that a bid, and particularly for the Blue Line's sake, an equity-focused bid would be a helpful tool in the toolbox in order to make sure that we have adequate participation by minority businesses in the corridor as it develops, that we have a vehicle to support interim activation efforts until some of that development materializes, that we have a good focus on clean teams, which we vision as a reentry program. So we have lots of ideas for our Blue Line corridor that have been included as part of our study, that would be where a bid would be the right home for those activities. And so we're in support of 407-23 as it really will serve to help our efforts in the Blue Line corridor and other places like Hyattsville. And we anticipate, as we continue revitalization inside the Beltway around our transit stations, that the bid conversation will become even more prominent in the county. So thank you for the time today.
Thank you, Ms. Rogers. We're going to move on to our next witness.
And Delegate Fennell,
Yes,
we're gonna move on next to Greg Smith. I don't believe
bid,
the other
okay.
person is here. So we're just gonna go straight to Greg Smith.
Okay.
And we won't need to call on them in the other pieces. I tried to call your phone.
Oh,
So,
you need a second number. Okay.
all right. Thank
Okay,
you. So Greg Smith.
Greg Smith, thank you. Mr. Smith? Is Mr. Smith available?
There is nobody by that name present in the call.
Okay, okay, so thank you. Is there any questions from the delegation?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Okay, Delegate Healy?
Thank you very much. I was aware when they created the bids a few years ago, and Montgomery County, I think, was the first to activate their authority. I was under the impression that the original bill gave statewide authority at the local level to do this. And that it just had to be activated at the local level. Is there something other going on? Because I think Delegate Jolene Ivy at the time was the sponsor of that bill. Is there,
Is Jazz, Delegate Lewis, is he available? If not, Shane? Is Jazz on, Delegate Lewis?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, I can't speak to the history prior. I did have a brief conversation with the councilwoman about how I think she started some efforts on this year's ago. My part is I worked on this from a conversation that I was having with the county executive's office on how we can really make sure we take these investments we're getting from the state to another level. Maybe if Shane has some of the history, but I believe we need express authority to establish them across the county.
well, I'll look at it offline. Thank you very much.
Okay, we'll get back with you, Delegate Healy, on it. Thank you. Okay, thank you. No more questions from the delegation. We're going to move to the next bill that is on the docket.
It looks like Delegate Taveras has a question.
I don't see her hand. Okay, thank you. Delegate Taveras?
Well, it's not a question necessarily, just letting you all know that I did establish a bid and I did pass enabling legislation at 51% at the county level based on the legislation out of Annapolis. And it did pass legal scrutiny under the county. So the first bid that was ever created in the county is actually in the Northern Gateway. We're just now putting into place the framework for it in terms of putting together the board of directors, putting together our business plan and all of that so that we could present it to the county council so we can come in back again to fully pass the enabling legislation for funding it to create the special taxing district and add legislation on to include rental properties, because the way I envision this is slightly different than the typical typical bid. This is specific for preserving communities at the same time that we wish to have quality development here. So a lot of what we're doing is also being mirrored by the county exec in highlighting the cleanliness. I have three prongs to this: quality of life portion, which we presented, green buildings, and community development. And some of that you'll hear in some of the bills that are being put across today.
Thank you, Taveras.
So I
Okay,
did
go ahead,
remember the
Jazz.
change too. So across the state, bids can be established now at the local level, but the threshold for sign on is, I think, 80% of the businesses in that area. Our bill is lowering it to 51%. So it's still a majority, but it's lowering it just because it seemed like it was really hard for us to get them going with that high threshold.
Thank you, Delegate Lewis. Is there any other questions? If not, we're going to move on to the next bill that is on the docket. Thank you so much, Delegate Tara. Your hand is still raised. You want to? Okay, we're going to move to the next bill on the docket, which is Prince George's 406-23, HB 1026, Prince George's County, Land Use Development and Neglect Property. Shane, can you read the bill? Summary of the bill, please.
Sure. The bill authorizes Prince George's County to exercise powers of eminent domain to acquire and develop or redevelop certain neglected property located in the county that has been designated as a transit-oriented development and is located within a business development district. The terms of business improvement district and transit-oriented development are defined in the bill.
Thank you. We have, I do believe it's 3 on the docket, but we don't have Mr. Dovers or Mr. Smith available. Do we have Christopher Harrington on? Chris, are you on?
Yes, Madam Chair, I'm
Hey,
here.
Chris, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Good. Doing pretty good. You can go ahead.
If it would please the committee, I'm actually testifying also on 850, and I think I can probably knock both of those out if that would be okay.
Delegate Charles said, okay.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
fine. Yeah, that's
Okay.
fine.
I'll promise to keep it under 2 minutes.
I know you will.
All right. Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, Madam Chair, members of the Prince George's County Delegation. My name is Chris Harrington, and I'm testifying in support of HB 850 and that concerning Prince George's County commercial property right of purchase and HB 1026, as we've discussed. At the heart of these two proposals is the idea that a community should have a greater say and power over the development and redevelopment activities occurring within its boundaries. In 2002, just over a year ago, my colleague and I, who's sitting next to me now, Andy LeCointe, started a company called Community Redevelopment Partners. And after years of working in the real estate industry, we felt that it was consistently overlooking and in many cases ignoring the concerns of community members. We knew that development could be done in a better way and in a more comprehensive way. We knew that inclusive development where community members are not only engaged in the tail end of the process, but rather serve as the catalyst for change in their community could be done with partnerships, legislation, and vision. And now we're blessed to wake up every day and serve communities across Prince George's County to make this vision a reality. The legislation before you is a step in the right direction and gives more power and authority to local jurisdictions. We know that the legislative process is an iterative one, and we're hopeful that we can continue to engage the members of this body on how to refine these proposals and others that empower local communities to create the change that they seek. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. It's good to see you. I don't believe Mr. Dover's there or Mr. Greg Smith. Is there any questions from the delegation? Okay, thank you, Chris. It's good to see you.
Thank you.
Good. Moving on, we have
Delegate Tavares' hand is up.
it's in Delegate Tavares.
Thank you.
Okay,
Hey,
good.
Delegate Tavares, and for the rest of the delegation members, we have, once this bill is live, we'll have nothing but time to go through
Right.
questions and get all of the answers we're looking for on the bills. This is specifically for the community. So let's take this time and let the community voice their opinions on the bills, and then we'll have the ability to do this, so we won't be here all night going back and
No,
forth.
and I appreciate
Delegate
that.
Tavares, thank you so much.
No, I just want to highlight, I want to say thank you to Chris, and just to make sure that there are amendments that should have been included in this bill and that are reflected and were provided. So please be sure that you are looking at the amended version of the bills in consideration of looking at these bills. Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you, Delegate. We did, and they were clarifying seemed amendments, so we're good with those. So thank you for that.
Thank you both. We're going to move on, Mr. Chair, to the next bill, which is Prince George's 410-23, HB 0825, and Senate Bill 0506. This is Forest Heights Urban Renewal Authority for blight clearance. Delegate Turner is the sponsor. And also, Shane, can you read the summary of the bill?
Bill grants the town of Forest Heights in Prince George's County the authority to exercise urban renewal powers in areas zoned for commercial use for blight clearance and redevelopment under Article 3, Section 61 of the Maryland Constitution. The bill also authorizes the municipality to levy certain taxes and issue general obligation bonds and revenue bonds to carry out urban renewal powers.
Thank you, Shane. We have two witnesses, Mr. Chair and delegation. It's Mayor Calvin Washington. And I don't believe Mr. Bendover is here, but Mayor Washington, are you on?
Yes, ma'am. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Chairman Charles, Delegate Fennell, Delegate Turner, and members of the Prince George's County House Delegation. My name is Calvin Washington, and I am the mayor of the town of Forest Heights. I'm here today to testify in support of Prince George's 410-23 with an amendment. I'd like to start by saying that we would like to add a favorable amendment, adding the word residential. This language would now state, for the purpose of granting the town of Forest Heights and Prince George's County the authority to exercise urban renewal powers in areas zoned for residential or commercial use for blight clearance and redevelopment. This amendment would allow us to further strengthen our community and ensure the safety of our residents. The town of Forest Heights is a growing town that is seeking to obtain the same urban renewal authority that 67 other Maryland municipalities have been granted over the past 50 years. Our town, like many others, has properties owned by absentee landlords that are causing harm to our community. These properties are frequently left vacant, abandoned, vandalized, and in disrepair. We strongly believe that the Urban Renewal Authority of PG 410-23 would help us to bring these property owners to the negotiating table in order to find some type of solution. We're in desperate need of this legislation to effectively address the impact of blighted properties on our neighborhood and businesses and communities in Forest Heights. The content of the requested legislation is only applicable within the confines of the corporate limits of our town. We strongly believe that inclusion of residential in the proposed amendment would greatly benefit our growing town and allow us to continue to make the progress in the right direction. I'd like to thank you all for allowing me to testify today, and I urge you to consider our request. Thank you.
I have a question. Mayor Washington, have you submitted the amendment to the delegation office?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great, wonderful. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome. Delegation, is there any questions in reference to this bill?
No questions. Thank you, Mayor Washington.
Thank you.
Like I said, we're going to move on to the next bill.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair. The next bill is going to be Prince George's County 412-23 HB 1078, Prince George's County property tax credit offset of annual tax increase. This is Delegate Ivy bill. We have
There's no testimony for that.
no testimony for this. And Shane, can you read the summary, please?
The bill authorizes the governing body of Prince George's County or of a municipal corporation in Prince George's County to grant a property tax credit imposed on a dwelling owned by a homeowner with an annual gross income of $70,000 or less. The tax credit must be in an amount sufficient to ensure that the total amount of real property taxes owed on a dwelling does not annually increase.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. Is there any question for the delegation? From the delegation? Having none, Mr. Chair, to end the county affairs docket, please, citizen delegation, please look on the website in reference to the county affairs hearing coming up this Wednesday and what is on the agenda. Thank you, Mr. Chair, for the opportunity.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair. We're now going to move on to bi-county. We have Delegate Valderrama. Delegate Valderrama, are you available?
Yep. Thank you, Chairman Charles. Good afternoon to everyone on this call, citizens, legislators, delegation. Looks like we have 4 bills on the docket this afternoon. We'll start off with MCPG 111-23, which is also House Bill 872. WSSC service and regional transit districts in the county. This, I believe, is on behalf of the county executive. And we have 4 folks who will be testifying. We'll start with Eli Borick, but before we get to that, council, if you would share the brief description with the folks on the call.
The bill authorizes the commission to contract with the District of Columbia or the District of Columbia Water and Sewer Authority concerning the construction, maintenance, and operation of a water supply, sewer, or drainage system by the District of Columbia or the authority for certain property specified by the bill. It's an emergency bill and clarifies that it's not meant to impair any presently existing contract, right, or obligation.
Thank you for that, Shane. Eli Borick, are you here?
Yes,
And
I
you
am.
have 2 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you. Firstly, I wanted to thank the Office of the County Executive for their support for this bill and for submitting the legislation, and also Council Member Oriata for her support. I am the Chief Development Officer for Petra Development. We have a mixed-use transit-oriented development with an approved detailed site plan that likely will not be able to move forward, but for the passage of this bill. Our property's only frontage is on a DC border, and connecting to readily available DC water infrastructure directly in front of our property would allow this community to move forward without further delay. This project is a large-scale, multi-phase project directly adjacent to the Southern Avenue Metro station that has not seen any development since its construction almost 23 years ago. We plan on providing a mix of housing, including affordable market rate and senior, in addition to a full-service grocer, a childcare facility, and other neighborhood-serving retail. I am here in full support of this bill, and thank you all for your consideration.
Thank you, Mr. Borick. Next, we'll have Council Member Crystal Oriata.
Good evening, delegation. I apologize on behalf of the council member who could not be here today. My name is Connie Serrano. I'm her legislative director. So I'll just say that on behalf of the council member, we are very supportive of HB 872, as it will allow important present and future development projects in District 7 to be able to move forward. This represents a huge opportunity for large investments in areas that often find it difficult to have access to water and sewer services. So today we want to respectfully ask and urge a favorable report on this bill. The council member has sent over a full statement to the delegation. Thank you so much.
Thank you. We have a representative from County Executive Alsobrooks' office.
Good afternoon, delegates. I am Jared McCarthy. I am the Deputy Chief Administrative Officer for Government Operations. I am also the County Executive's liaison to WSSC. We are here, obviously, the bill is at our request. We're in support of this bill. I think it's important to note that this project was first brought to the county executive's attention in July of 2021, and that will give some, I guess, scale on how long we have been working with WSSC to find technical solutions to the issue of this project's inability to connect to the WSSC water system. For at least the past 6 months, myself, as well as DCAO Rogers and David Iannucci of the Economic Development Corporation, have been working closely with WSSC management to not only find a technical solution, which is a separate path than the legislative solution, but we also submitted a request for an attorney general opinion, because all of this is founded on WSSC's general counsel's opinion that this private project does not have legal authority, and WSSC doesn't have legal authority to grant the connection to DC water. So really what we have is a project that's in a catch-22 that will continue to remain in the catch-22 if this legislation does not move forward. Now, admittedly, we are working hand in hand with WSSC. We understand that there may be amendments that WSSC seeks to limit the scope of this legislation. Certainly, we will support any common sense amendment from the Washington Suburban Sanitary Commission. And we certainly ask that the the delegation keep an open mind as well and allow this project to move forward. We certainly ask for your support, and thank you for your support.
Thank you so much. Our final witness on this bill is Guy Andes from WSSC.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the delegation. For the record, Guy Andes, Acting Director of Intergovernmental Relations at WSSC Water. At this time, WSSC Water does not have a formal position on this bill. And should the commissioners vote to take a position on the bill, I'll be providing that to the delegation in writing. Presently, WSSC Water and the county are working on a dual track, whereas the county and WSSC Water would jointly propose amendments to make the bill acceptable and very limited in impact, or WSSC Water, working with the applicant, will find a reasonable, technical, non-legislative solution that will result in the withdrawal of the bill. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have and look forward to continuing working on this bill.
Thank you, Guy. Members of the delegation, are there any questions or commentary regarding this legislation? And Latasha, if you could assist me, I'm on a display here where I can't see everybody. Any questions? If someone could just say yes, and if not.
I don't see.
Hearing. Okay, hearing none, and Latasha seeing none. That concludes testimony on that bill. The next bill will be MCPG 10823. That was House Bill 873, WSSC Commissioner Qualifications and General Manager Voting Powers. This is submitted on behalf of WSSC and Delegate Marvin Holmes. Council, if you could share the description of this legislation, please.
The bill requires at least one WSSC commissioner from each of Montgomery County and Prince George's County to have at least one of a few qualifications. It can be satisfied in one of three ways relating to education or experience. The bill also clarifies that or provides rather, that the general manager of WSSC has certain voting powers.
Thank you so much, Council. We have one person here to testify, and that's Guy Andes with WSSD.
Madam Chair, I'm going to sound like a broken record, and I apologize. At this time, the WSSC does not have a formal position on this bill. Should the commissioners vote to take a position, I'll be providing that in writing to the delegation.
Thank you. Any questions from the delegation or commentary? Hearing none, that concludes testimony on that legislation. Our third bill is MCPG 11023, House Bill 1007, WSSC membership alterations. This is submitted on behalf of WSSC and Delegate Taveras. Council.
This is similar to 10823, but it adds the general manager of WSSC as a commissioner. It also requires that one commissioner from each of the counties be a subject matter expert in certain areas. And that's it.
Thank you, Shane. We have two witnesses. We'll start with Guy Andes.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair. Guy Andes, Acting Director of Intergovernmental Relations for WSSC Water. WSSC Water does not have a formal position at this time, and should the commissioners vote to take a position on this bill, I will provide that in writing to the delegation as soon as it's done. I'm happy to answer any questions you or the delegation may have.
Thank you so much. Any questions for this panel? Hearing none. The last witness on this legislation is Ms. Carla Reed.
Good afternoon, delegates. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. My name is Carla Reed, and I am testifying in support of this bill as a resident of Prince George's County and as a WSSC water customer with a perspective of nearly 40 years of being associated with the utility. The WSSC Water Board is a part-time governing body that meets once a month. The current board is composed of individuals with no subject matter expertise in managing a water utility, let alone one of the size and complexity of WSSC Water. As the largest water utility in this region, WSSC Water serves a critical function. As such, it's imperative that individuals appointed to governance positions have the knowledge and skill to lead appropriately and effectively. One would hope that the appointing officials would ensure that the right expertise is present on the board, but that has not happened without legislation. The utility is facing critical issues like climate change impacts, infrastructure sustainability, bioenergy, and new regulatory requirements of chemicals such as PFAS. There should be some voices at the table that understand the topics being discussed, yet subject matter expertise is glaringly absent from the board. I also believe that leadership between the CEO and the board members should be shared and collaborative. The way to achieve that particular goal is to have the CEO be a board member. Taking this step will structurally create a good governance model and would not be out of the norm. This model already exists in the other bi-county agency created in state law, the Park and Planning Commission. This legislation is needed to obtain the right mix of qualified people on the board and to improve the governance structure. So thank you, Delegate Taveras and Delegate Holmes, for introducing this legislation. And I thank you, delegates, for your time and attention.
Thank you, Ms. Reed. Are there any questions from the delegation for these panelists? Hearing none, that concludes the testimony on that bill. Our final bill for Bi-County will be MCPG 11223, House Bill 850, Prince George's County Commercial Property Right of Purchase, submitted on behalf of Delegate Taveras. And we have three people that will be testifying on this legislation. Council, if you could give the brief description of this bill.
The bill requires the District Council of Prince George's County to notify and consider comments of the governing body of a certain municipality before the sale of certain commercial property. It also provides that a certain governing body has the preemptive right to purchase of certain commercial property under certain circumstances.
Thank you so much. We'll start off with Christopher Harrington. Mr. Harrington, you have 2 minutes.
He
Mr.
already,
Harrington?
he already testified on the bill. That was his initial presentation. He included this bill and the
All right.
prior bill.
Okay, we'll move on to Mr. Greg Smith. Mr. Smith, you have 2 minutes. Mr. Smith, are you here with us?
Get on. Thank you. Sorry, I had a little trouble unmuting there. Can you hear me?
We can hear you, but can we see you? We'd like to
really
see you
want
when
to.
we're on.
Do you
live.
really want to?
Well, it's for the record.
There we go. All righty.
There we go.
I am in fact Greg Smith. For those of you who know me, you know my face. Thank you, Madam Chair and delegation members. I only had a chance to read this bill today. More of a question or suggestion that, and this also relates to BG 406. I'm sorry I missed that earlier. I had another Zoom call, but eminent domain is a pretty awesome power. I've seen it used for good or bad. This right of first refusal for a municipality seems like a good idea. I'd like to suggest that there be some sort of language introduced to set priorities for the use of these powers. We have a huge number of public needs that could be met by these properties, potentially. It depends on the property, obviously, and the community and the setting. We need land for schools. We need properties for schools. We need affordable housing. We need community centers. We need multi-purpose community centers. So I'd like to see whether or not some sort of language could be built into the bill to prioritize these goals and purposes when the county may or municipality might exercise these powers and rights. We're seeing too many cases where properties that could be good, for instance, elementary school sites, are being developed with townhouses or houses or other uses, and then we're being left with sites that are pretty poor, actually. In Hyattsville, we're left with the existing school site, essentially. 2 acres, no green space, no opportunity for green space, and the kids will have to swing. So where there's an opportunity to use these powers to meet an obviously identified and documented public good, I would suggest that the legislature, the delegation, take this opportunity to help set some of those priorities and those guardrails on the use of those powers. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Our final panelist will be Talisha Searcy. Talisha, are you with us?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Excellent. Can you see me?
I cannot. Oh, let's see here. I still see Mr. Smith. That's what I see.
I do as well.
Yeah, I don't see you.
We can't see you.
Okay.
There we go. Oh, no, that's Latasha.
Okay. Well, it looks like my computer is now freezing. So if you can still hear me.
Okay, well, if there is no other option, then we can proceed.
Perfect. So my name is Talisha Searcy. I'm the mayor for the city of Tacoma Park, and I would like to support MCPG 11223. This bill promotes community-focused development by providing local governments the first right of refusal for the purchase of commercial property under certain circumstances. The city of Tacoma Park borders Prince George's County, the District of Columbia, as well as Montgomery County. Limited in the city of Tacoma Park, particularly in areas adjacent to public transit, all of which border other jurisdictions such as Tacoma Park Metro and future Purple Line stations, Tacoma, Langley, and Long Branch stations. Recently, we've seen commercial properties in these areas change hands with little notice. The acquisition of these properties has tremendous impact on the viability of many small businesses in the city, providing municipalities with the preemptive right to the purchase of certain commercial property. Local governments with the ability to assess other commercial space other ways in which commercial space might address community needs before it's sold. Often there is a need for community amenities like housing, recreation centers, schools, and libraries. Additionally, many businesses like those in the Tacoma Langley Crossroads area are also struggling due to prolonged Purple Line construction and the pandemic. The authority in this bill will allow local governments to protect and retain small businesses by enabling municipalities to acquire the property necessary to keep current businesses in place, as well as develop new programming such as innovative business incubators. For these reasons, I urge the favorable report on MCPG 11223 so that local governments can act on this issue. Thank you for the opportunity to speak today, and Delegate Tavares for this bill.
Thank you, Mayor Searcy, for your testimony. Are there any questions for these panelists from the delegation? Hearing none, that concludes the testimony on that. I'm sorry.
Delegate Tavares has a hand up.
I'm sorry, Delegate Tavares, proceed.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to clarify that this is a bill that, when amended, would give the power to the county, not municipalities, because we're talking about unincorporated areas. First of all, this is limited to transit-oriented development areas and areas within the business improvement districts. So based on this criteria, it would only affect, at this moment, the Northern Gateway, and should bids occur within Hyattsville Crossing, projected in West Hyattsville, because I know a feasibility study is being considered there, and along the Blue Line corridor. So those would be the only areas that would be affected in a quarter of a mile's distance from any point of a stop, and for Purple Line stops as well. Thank you.
Thank you for the clarification, Delegate. Are there any questions for the delegate based on her clarification? Hearing none, that would conclude the testimony on MCPG 112. That also concludes the docket for Bi-County Subcommittee. Chairman Charles, I would let the public here know that our standing day and standing time for meetings are Thursday mornings at 9 a.m. on Zoom. We've been pretty much sticking to that, but do please check the website for any last minute updates or changes. And if you need to contact my office, that is 410-841-3210. Thank you, Chairman Charles.
Thank you so much, Delegate Valderrama. We're now going to move forward with the Education Committee with Chairwoman Delegate Karen Toles. Delegate Toles.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good evening, everyone. We have two bills. The first bill is PG 502-23. It's the Prince George's County Board of Education and School System Revisions and Local Public Campaign Financing for the Board of Education members. It's a lengthy description. I can read it. It's for the purpose of altering the
Karen, Delegate Toles, we have a council.
Sure, Shane, take it away. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
So this is, please bear with me. There aren't too many ways to truncate this one. The bill alters the purpose of and the duties and responsibilities of the Prince George's County Board of Education and certain officers of the county board. It also alters the voting authority of the student member of the county board. It renames and alters the duties of the county superintendent of schools establishes an Office of Accountability and Compliance to be headed by an Inspector General in the Prince George's County government. It also alters the residency term limit and compensation requirements for elected members of the county board. It also authorizes the governing body of Prince George's County to establish a system of public campaign financing for elected members of the county board after the governing body has implemented a system of public campaign financing for elective offices in the executive or legislative branches of the county government for at least one complete election cycle. And lastly, it prohibits the system from including public campaign financing for the election of a student member of the board.
Thank you, Shane. Appreciate that. We have several witnesses. I would like to start with Tonya Wickfield.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, I'm just going to highlight the cons that I would like. Can you
Okay,
hear
I'm
me?
sorry. Yes, I was waiting for the timer to start. Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so I have several things that I would like for the General Assembly to look at. One, changing the vice chair terms and chair to 1 year. I think that's going to be very disruptive to continuity to the operations. The duties listed for the chair actually leave no latitude for the board to vote as a body to make changes that could improve their operations. That needs to be reconsidered. Regarding the changes in the bylaws every 4 years, the board policy 9340 stipulates that the superintendent makes annual recommendations for updating bylaws and associated administrative procedures. So this seems kind of duplicative to have to put that in there. It's already being done. There was also about board members actually getting professional development. So I was just wondering, are there any labor laws that would this would actually implicate, since we're demanding this? And also, we expect elected board members that they should possess these skills when we elect them. And I just don't understand why we would, it's not an effective use of our education funds, especially being that the school board we know is used as a stepping stone for other political aspirations. Board members working with their members should actually focus on their retreats. I don't understand why we have anything in legislation about that. The Citizens Advisory Committee, should this really be legislated? The board has already put some things in place and to make sure that they have a committee, and they should have that latitude to determine the advisory bodies that are needed. And I don't think that should be mandated by the state. The audit committee language is very vague. So we need to have more details to ensure that there is not going to be a conflict with the duties of the superintendent. The superintendent is charged with setting goals to meet state and local goals. So I don't understand the request that the school board work to set goals. I think they should remain as in the oversight capacity to ensure that.
Can you begin to close out for us?
I surely can.
Thank you.
Polls, I don't want us to do polls to set our goals. Academic data should be done with that. And this Office of the Accountability and Compliance is a clear power grab. We have a state board that has an inspector general. That board has that oversight, and that should remain there to ensure confidentiality and integrity of the process.
Ms. Wingfield, do you have all of these written?
I
Could you
do.
submit that as written testimony to the
I
delegation?
definitely will.
All right,
Thank
thank you.
Sure.
And also everyone, as we testify on the bills, everyone has 2 minutes to testify. If you have a lengthy, passionate testimony, please provide that via email to the delegation so that we can take all of your testimony under consideration. But everyone has 2 minutes to testify, only 2 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, for saying that. So you all heard the chair. Please try to keep it to 2 minutes. As a reminder, Ms. Coleman has a timer on her picture. So just please be mindful of that. Yes, just don't forget to submit your testimony. You can keep it short for now. And next we have Mayor Kashina Cross.
Good morning. Thank you, Chair, and thank you to Chairman Tolles, and thank you for the opportunity to speak on this presentation. I will give you that the terms of the Chief Executive Officer is 4 years, beginning July 1st. The Chief Executive Officer shall serve until a successor is appointed. I will highlight the need that there should be a partisanship, not to protect education, but nonpartisanship when it comes to education. Education has really de-invested in the civic education, the social studies, as well as the STEM education over the course of the last years of COVID-19. We acknowledge the role of the school board and the Board of Education to make good decisions about curriculum, about buildings and maintenance and annual budgets. I do offer an alternative to this bill that will allow the school board to go through the CEO applications, propose 3 nominations to the chief executive, the county executive, to allow a reasonable participation on behalf of all of those that are involved with ensuring the education of our precious assets, our children. We therefore then go before the governor as a select appointment, unified on one inclusive way to ensure a satisfactory inclusion. Democracy has to stop being under attack, and partisanship has to stay out of the executive role when it comes down to our children. Over the last year, we have seen an absolute dereliction of duties with the amount of arguing and debate that went forth from the CEO to the school board president and all of that. We are the residents. We have invested in the education of our children, and we trust that those who are to cover that education will exercise nonpartisan way, but will exercise in a way that satisfies the needs of our children. As we look at the investment and our throughput from kindergarten to college, we note that we're at a low 20% across the nation. It is time that we put education of our children ahead of politics. Thank you for your opportunity to speak.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Next we have John Robinson. John Robinson. Okay, we're going to move on. If you can.
He was just admitted from the waiting room. Sorry.
Okay. You said he was just admitted?
Yeah, he must have left and rejoined.
Okay, so we'll move on to the next name, and then I'll call him after this one to see if he was able to get on. Jennifer Pompey.
Hello, yes, I'm here.
Your 2 minutes will be starting shortly. Go.
My name is Jenny Pompey, and I'm the mother of 2 PGCPS students, and I reside in Greenbelt in District 22. I'd like to thank the Prince George's County Delegation and the working group for their support and guidance in transitioning the PGCPS Board of Education back to a fully elected board, and for your support in this bill of public campaign financing for Board of Education members and increased voting rights for our student board member. I believe this will result in a stronger and more representative Board of Education. I have some concerns about the wording under Subtitle 4, Section 401, which states, "The county board shall establish an audit committee to ensure that public funds for the county school system are spent equally across all the schools in the county school system." We are an equitable system, not an equal system. So this wording is in violation of the blueprint and would harm schools with higher concentrations of poverty, special education students, and English language learners. I hope this language can be amended. It is equity, not equality, that matters most in public education spending. I also have concerns about the establishment of an accountability and compliance office outside of the Board of Education appointed by the County Council. While I strongly support increased accountability and transparency from our Board of Education, removing the Office of Internal Audit away from the purview of the board also removes the ability of the people to hold their elected board members accountable for their oversight of possible fraud, waste, and abuse by the school system. The people want a fully elected board, and we want to hold them accountable. How can we hold them accountable if they have no powers of oversight? I also have concerns that an OAC appointed by the County Council would unnecessarily politicize PGCPS oversight. We can look to what happened on Monday when the County Education and Workforce Development Committee requested the State Office of Inspector General investigate PGCPS spending. Some council members immediately went to the media claiming mismanagement of public funds without an investigation, without response from our schools or confirmation of fault. Yes.
Wrap it up for us,
yes.
please?
Currently,
Thank
such
you.
investigations are confidential until
Right
accusations
now.
are proven, which avoids besmirching the names and reputations of those involved. Thank you for your.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. You all gonna get me in trouble with the chair. Yes, so I'll stick to 2 minutes, okay? All right, the next person we have is Councilmember Ed Burrows. Council member? Okay, we'll come back to you.
And Delegate Toles, and I'll ask this one more time for everyone with your testimony, because some of these are very good pieces of feedback for the legislation. Please submit this via writing to the delegation so that we can take all of these written amendments under consideration. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I do want to go back to John Robinson. Has he joined the line?
Yes, hello. Yes,
Hello.
I was became aware of this bill late, so I was reading over it, and I'm a little
Tasha, can you-
confused.
excuse me 1 second. Can we gonna wait for your 2 minutes to come up?
Oh,
Thank you.
okay.
You
My
can go.
apologies. There we go. Sorry.
No.
Okay. Yeah, I'm John Robinson. I live in Adelphi, Maryland. I read through the bill, and in the beginning, they talked about an elected board and then 4 appointed members. And then later in the bill, it talks about just an elected board with a student elected member. And at least the one that was online indicates that both are supposedly true. So I don't know if that's a matter of cleaning it up or not, but I'm in fully support of a fully elected board and no appointed members.
Thank you so much. Thank you. You got under 2 minutes. We appreciate you. Was that all your testimony?
Yes, on this one, I have testimony on 503. I'm assuming that's coming up next.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Okay.
I'll wait until then. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Ms. Morrow, you gave testimony. You had your hand up. Is that a mistake?
I have not provided testimony yet. Based on the agenda, you skipped over me.
Oh, I am so sorry. I apologize about that. As you're on a second page. Okay, I will let you go. Thank you. Wait for the indicator. Okay, go.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Good evening, Chair, Vice Chair, and members of the delegation. My name is Lori Morrow. I'm a resident of District 23 in my 15th year as a PGCPS parent. I'm also a former PTA, PTO president, former member of the PGCPS Parent Community Advisory Council, and currently serving on the Maryland State Board of Education. My testimony tonight is as an individual and does not represent any of these boards or organizations. I've been following the activities of the Prince George's County Board of Education since before the hybrid board in 2013 and really wanted to support this bill. Unfortunately, my response is mixed. There are definitely parts I support, including the student member voting rights, public campaign financing, compensation increase, and term limits and one-year renewable terms for the chair and vice chair that mirror our governance of the state board. However, some sections feel like they seek to codify a micromanagement of day-to-day board governance in the education statute in a way that other local school boards do not face. To be clear, I absolutely support community surveys, professional development, strategic planning, and goals for our boards, but I disagree with the level of detail and reporting mandated through this bill. I'm also concerned about the Office of Accountability and Compliance outside of PGCPS. Is this intended to duplicate internal audit or replace it entirely? At a time when the school systems are facing added administrative and financial reporting for Blueprint already, I believe this has the change to add political distractions instead of relieve them. If the voters of Prince George's County are capable of electing state and county representatives, we must also assume they are capable of electing a board of education to govern this school system. That board needs our engagement and our support for the benefit of all children. So I will certainly follow up with a more detailed written statement as well. Thank you all.
Thank you so much. And again, my apologies for skipping you. We have Councilmember Ed Burrows. Are you on the call now? Okay, if we can just, if any colleagues or Ms. Coleman, if you see him, please let us know. I'll move on to Greg Smith. Greg Smith.
Thank you. Can you hear me and see me?
Yes, wait for the
Or
timer
just as I
to
took a
start.
bite of apple, thank you. Again, good evening. It is evening now. And thank you for being here. It's on a Sunday evening. If it makes you feel any better, this is my fourth Zoom of today. I'd like to associate myself with the thoughtful comments made by Ms. Wingfield and Jenny Pompey and Lori Morrow and John Robinson before me. I think your deeper studies on what the nuts and bolts of the school board and the educational system than I am. This bill strikes me as a significant shift in powers and authorities and responsibilities. And I'm not clear why, with all the identified issues we've had in our school system, why it needed to be late filed. It's a lengthy bill with a lot of moving parts. I think a more thoughtful approach would be appropriate, and to take the kinds of good comments that were submitted by the others and bring them together and to give them serious consideration. I'd also like to ask the delegation to post testimony on its website in a place that's prominent and easy to find. I've made a request for statements submitted on MCPG 107/2023 and a narrow request, organizational comments, agency comments, public official comments. And the response was that the delegation could not provide those submitted statements, which I don't understand. It was acknowledged that they're subject to the Public Information Act, but it shouldn't take that. If these statements are being collected in well-organized fashion, then it should be pretty easy to share them out by email or by posting them on the website. So I hope you will do that much sooner rather than later. It helps us understand the arguments and facts or assertions you've been presented with, and clarify them where we think that's appropriate. We want to give you the best input we can, but we need to see what you're seeing as well. So please post this testimony, any written testimony you get online. Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Smith. Thank you. Ms. Jana Parker.
Hi, thank you so much. I'm going to be brief. I hope you guys can see my picture because I'm actually at a tournament, so I'm not going to come on camera because there's volleyballs flying all around my head as my child plays. But what I will say is that in relation to this particular bill,
Mr. Chair, do we want people on camera?
No, she's fine. You know, if this the only way she can do it, then.
Okay, Ms. Parker, I'm sorry, Ms. Coleman, can you start her 2 minutes again, please, for me? 1 second, Ms. Parker, I want to give you all your time.
I sure can.
No worries. I won't be 2 minutes.
You already started now. Okay.
Thank you. So I'm a longtime resident of Prince George's County. Prince George's County. I'm a graduate of PGCPS. I was a teacher in PGCPS. I have 2 children in PGCPS. I'm on a lot of local support education, particularly MARI, for racial equity in education, that is a statewide agency. That means that I am making this as just myself as an individual. What I will say is I'll note the concerns of previous testimony brought before. But what I will say is that I think that there needs to be an increase of a power to the Board of Education in a responsible and appropriate manner. I also have concerns about putting term limits on PGCPS school board members, but there's no term limits on delegates and senators and county council people in certain capacities. And so let's term limit everybody if this is what you're doing. Additionally, I would definitely have questions or concerns about Office of Accountability outside of PGCPS. I think that's a very viable state. Questionable as what's going on, but there are definitely parts of this bill that are further supported. I will submit a written testimony in detail in the next 2 to 3 days, but I would like to say at this time, I am favorable for this bill with amendments. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Ms. Parker. Richard Potts.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Good evening, Madam Chair, the Education Committee, and the members of the PG County Delegation. My name is Richard Potts. I'm a current student of Prince George's County's public schools. I'm here today to voice my support for the expansion of the voting rights for the student member of the board via PG 50223. A student member of the board is heavily involved with the PG County student community. As a student themselves, they listen to the concerns and suggestions of the students while also experiencing them firsthand. Being able to vote on things such as school closing and the budget gives the Board of Education the advantage of unfiltered student input. As a student of Parkdale High School, having the student member of the board vote on such important matters gives me the reassurance that me and my peers are being fully represented and heard. There have been many times where I felt as if the school should close due to inclement weather, but stayed open, with the student member of the board being easily accessible and understanding they could represent my concerns in such situations. The voice of the student member of the board and the representation of students is very important. Giving them expanded voting rights will allow for just that. Thank you, PG delegates, for listening to my input.
Thank you so much, Mr. Potts. Alvaro Serran Ruiz, and I hope I got that name correct. If not, can you repeat it for me, please? And your two.
Alvaro Serran Ruiz.
Okay, perfect. All right. Your 2 minutes are going to start momentarily. Go.
All right. Good afternoon, Chair Tolles, Chair Charles, members of the delegation, and audience members. My name is Alvaro Serran Ruiz, and I'm a senior at Eleanor Roosevelt High School, class of 2023. And I have the pleasure of serving as the PGCPS student member of the board for the past 2 years. My testimony today is not on behalf of the board, but with my experience as the student board member. I come before you today in support of the language within this bill to expand the voting rights of the student member of the board. The role of the student board member is crucial in ensuring that the student voice is not lost when decisions are made impacting the very school system students call their second home. What this language expanding voting rights does is make sure the sole student on the 14-member board is able to not just speak on behalf of students, but fully vote on their behalf. I also come to support a currently proposed amendment to this bill to expand the election of the student member of the board countywide. Currently, applications are released countywide, and delegates to the Prince George's County SGA or student government conduct and vote in a primary to narrow these applicants down to 2. Then a final election is done, where the same delegates finally elect a student board member. The proposed amendment will maintain the release of applications in the primary conducted, but will expand the final election to all 7th to 12th grade PGCPS students. What this does is ensure that the person sitting in this role is truly representative of the student body, and it also promotes the importance of being civically engaged amongst our students. These 2 changes aren't new to Maryland. Therefore, let's make sure Prince George's County is not left behind in showing the trust and belief we have in the school system to foster brilliant and capable scholars. So thank you, delegates, for hearing my testimony today, and I hope you consider this.
Wonderful, thank you. And I understand you have an amendment, which we will discuss next week and consider. So thank you so much, Miss Irene Diane.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. And get your 2 minutes going. I'm sorry, I don't see you on the screen.
1 moment. Sorry. I think. Can you guys see me now? I'm sorry.
Yes, perfect. Thank you so much. 1 second, let's get your correct time. Okay, good to go.
All right. Good afternoon, esteemed delegates of the Prince George's County Delegation. My name is Irene Diane, and I'm a senior at Bowie High. And today I'm testifying in favor of the proposed amendment for the expansion of the student member of the board or SMOB elections countywide to all 7th and 12th graders, through 12th graders. Our current system highly limits the number of students able to vote for the SMOB, as only middle schools and high schools are part of the Prince George's County Association of Student Governments, otherwise known as PGRAS, can vote for the SMOB. And those schools are only given a few number of students in comparison to their student population who are actually able to vote. Not all
Excuse
middle
me,
schools.
Ms. Diane, I've been asked by colleagues if you could speak a little louder, please.
Yes.
Thank you.
Not all middle schools and high schools are active in PGRAS, and as a result of many schools' lack of participation in PGRAS, many students do not know who their student member of the board is, along with the importance of their position, and are also unaware of the many opportunities they have to serve as a leader on the county level. As a former SMOP candidate, I know that when it comes down to the final stretch of campaigning, a large amount of my focus was only dedicated to schools a part of the PGRAS delegation because they were students who were They were the students who were actually able to vote on election day. Expanding voting rights would ensure candidates in the future work to meet as many students in high schools and middle schools across the county. Expanding elections means that hundreds of more students would have the opportunity to learn more about the democratic processes that go into choosing a representative. Introducing students to such an important experience could also increase student engagement and activity across the county, making groups like PGRAS and the Small Advisory Council more diverse in representation. Expanding elections means that future student members of the board would be a more accurate representation of whom the students want to serve them. Today, with more access to technology, it is incredibly feasible for the county to implement countywide voting for all 7th through 12th grade students from previous years, compared to previous years. A system change is long overdue, not only so the small more accurately represents that PGCPS as a whole, but also so more students get a chance to have a hands-on experience with democratic processes and more students have an opportunity to get engaged within the county. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Ms. Diane. Rain Riviera Forbes. Is Rain Forbes here?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. I'm trying to get my camera on.
Okay.
Just give me 1 second.
Sure. So, okay, I'll come right back to you. I'll get to Senio Crutchfield while you wait for your camera to come on. Is that okay? Okay, Ms. Crutchfield, we'll come right back to Ms. Forbes. Ms. Crutchfield, Senio Crutchfield. Okay. Not here. Ms. Forbes, were you able to get your camera on?
I am. Can you see me now?
Okay. Yes, Miss. Do I see you? Okay. Yes, I can see you now. Okay.
I'm very sorry. I don't know what was going on.
No,
with my
it's totally okay. Take your time. We're going to set this timer for you, and then you can go. It's all good. All right, go.
All right. Good afternoon, delegates, fellow advocates, and attendees. My name is Ray Rivera Forbes, and I'm a junior at Duval High School. I'm very grateful to have this opportunity to speak in front of you. I've had the privilege of working with 2 student members of the Board of Education on the importance of this matter. As I have come before you in 2021, I come again, supporting the expansion of voting rights for the student member of the Board of Education. The voice of the youth is very powerful. We are a great generation. However, we are still not given the platform that we need. One core value of our Board of Education is continuous improvement in teaching, leadership, and accountability is the key to our destiny. The improvement I put before you is our student representative's voice. The Prince George's County Board of Education is comprised of 9 elected, 4 appointed, and 1 student board member. And the students only elect one of those members. This happens to be the member with the least voting rights. How can we truly support our youth if their voice is limited right where it should be expressed the most? The Board of Education works to advance student achievement through community engagement, sound policy governance, accountability, and fiscal responsibility. If we have the sound policy governance on our board, that means all students' voices should be heard and all members' voices should be heard. Everything the Board of Education decides affects the students. The student member of the Board of Education is there to represent all PGCPS students regardless of their differences. The only way they can do that is by hearing their voice. When our voice is limited, you cannot hear us speak. Following with that, expanding the student member of the board election countywide will further ensure that students' voices are represented on the Board of Education that is there for them. The urgency of this is critical. Thank you for hearing my voice.
Thank you. You did a wonderful job. We're proud of our students in Prince George's. Miss Crutchfield? Senio Crutchfield?
I'm sorry, I apologize.
Okay.
Thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Sure.
I stepped away a minute. Are we speaking on behalf of PG 503-23?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
No, I'm sorry. We're speaking on 502, 23. And you're signed up for that one as well.
I'm sorry, say that again.
PG 502-23.
Okay, I thought I signed up for 503-23.
No, would you like to be considered for that one instead?
Yes, but I'll go ahead and speak on behalf of the school board as well. As a 31-year educator, from DC to Prince George's County, it's very important that we have an elected school board. An elected school board will definitely give opportunities for the persons who make the decision, the stakeholders will have the opportunity to make the decisions and not just appointed board. So I'll just say this quickly. I didn't write anything on behalf of that. So I just want to say I'm all for the elected school board.
Great, thank you so much. I don't see any other individuals signed up for testimony for this. Councilmember Ed Burrows, are you on the line now? Okay. So he's not here. So we're going to end testimony unless I miss someone for PG 502-23. I don't see anyone else that has signed up for this. As the Chairman Charles indicated, you can submit your written testimony. Please submit that as soon as possible. We do plan to have a bill hearing next week on this. We meet Wednesdays at 9 a.m. and I'll repeat that after the second bill. So if there's no one else signed up for this bill, I will close the hearing for this bill, if that's okay, Mr. Chair. And then move on to PG 503-23, Prince George's County Chief Executive Officer of the Public School System Search Committee requirements. Shane, could you please give a description of that bill, please?
Sure. Very simply, the bill alters the composition of, the qualifications for, and the method for selecting the search committee for the Chief Executive Officer of the Prince George's County Public School System.
Great, thank you so much. We're going to start with our first individual, and it's Dr. Suzanne Windsor.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening, delegation and community members. My name is Dr. Suzanne Windsor. I'm the Vice President of PGCEA and a pupil personnel worker in the district for 30 years. I am here today to testify in support of House Bill 432 with amendments. PGCEA and our members understand the importance of facilitating an inclusive and transparent process which involves all stakeholders in the process for selecting a new CEO. The PGCPS CEO plays a crucial role in the functioning and success of our schools. They are responsible for setting the vision and the direction of the district and making key decisions that impact the education and well-being of our students. It is essential that all stakeholders, including students, parents, school system staff, and community members, have a say in the selection of this important leader. The CEO selection must include a search committee that consists of, at the very least, representatives of the county council, elected school board representatives, school system unions, relevant community organizations, and representatives from this body, the county delegation. Increasingly, the level of input and scrutiny for applicants will likely yield higher quality candidates and ensure the district secures the best possible fit. Involving these stakeholders will also build trust and confidence in the candidate and the school board. An open process with key community stakeholders involved demonstrates a commitment to transparency and inclusivity. These are essential for the values of PGCPS's continued success. In conclusion, I respectfully urge the delegation to return a favorable support with amendments on House Bill 432 and encourage the inclusion of all stakeholders in a highly inclusive process for selecting a new CEO. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Dr. Windsor. We will now go to Sonia Staples. Sonia Staples.
I'm Harold. I was trying to get my camera together.
Oh, no worries.
Good afternoon. My name is Sonia Staples. A current parent of two PGCPS students. I am testifying in support of the House bill. That ends my testimony.
Oh, great. Okay. You win an award for the shortest testimony. Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much. Mr. John Robinson. Bye. Mr. John Robinson.
Yes, thank you. My name is John Robinson. I live in Adelphi, Maryland. I have serious issues with this. I think this bill would concentrate too much power in the hands of the county executive, since it makes her the person who chooses the search committee and ends up making the final decision. Basically, this is what caused so much of the conflict that the previous few years have seen between people that are loyal to the county executive versus those that were elected by the citizens to serve on the school board. So I would urge that that choice be undone and that the school board be allowed to choose the superintendent with a search committee that I agree with the first person that testified should be widely representative of all of the interested parties, not just a small group selected by the county executive. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Robinson. Eves Brady.
Hello, I'll try to keep my testimony short too. My name is Eve Brady from Clinton, Maryland. I'm a member organizer with Progressive Maryland. And I'd also like to state my reservations with this bill as written. Like John already stated, it gives the county executive's office just power far overreaching its deserved limits. The office needs checks and balances. We can't have the search party both appointed by the county executive and then the final decision also chosen by the county executive. Our Board of Education deserves to have more power in determining the CEO. Honestly, in my opinion, the board would be solely in charge of finding and appointing the CEO. And if this passes as is, the board really has no power in making that decision of who their superior would be, which I think is just ridiculous. Then that's all. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much. J. Howard Brock.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Good evening, Chairman Charles and Delegate Tolles, delegation members and guests. I'm Jay Howard Brock. I'm the Parent Teacher Organization President, the PTO squad at Bradbury Heights Elementary School in Capitol Heights, Maryland. I'm testifying today about PG 503-23. The PG County parents that I've spoke with do not agree, and we are concerned. We asked for a more open process for the CEO selection, and the parent community and the Board of Education need a seat at the table. The county executive appears to be trying to consolidate power in the eyes of some of the parent body, and the community deserves more stakeholder inputs. I thank you, Chairman Charles, for the opportunity to testify today. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Martin Diggs.
Yes, ma'am.
How's that going?
Good.
Yeah.
I'm finally
Mr.
done.
Robinson, Mr. Robinson, can you mute your phone? Thank you. All right, thank you. Mr. Diggs.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Good evening, delegation. I'm President Martin Diggs of ACE ASME Local 2250, representing over 5,000 educational support personnel in Prince George's County. I come out of the transportation department, and I'm a bus driver. Although that has been ingrained in me for 20 years, I still come in support of all educational support personnel, over 200 different job classifications and 9 chapters. I believe in one statement, and that is your actions speak louder. Some people will say that I can't hear what you're saying because I'm listening so closely to what you're doing. I believe that to have this decision, and that's this meeting on a Sunday, on a 3-day weekend, says that yes, the county executive is trying to slide in more power and get more power. This does not demonstrate a willingness to do what is right and be transparent for our community. I'm listening and watching to everything that is going on. That is why I stand in for having more stakeholders and having more input on PG 503-23. Please amend the bill and allow for the seats to be elected individual members in the community who have shown to have a track record to support and bring forth the major concerns that we hear from our community to the table. Again, this concludes my statement, and I thank you for the opportunity to come and testify today. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, Mr. Diggs. Ms. Tamika Washington.
Yes, I'm here.
Great.
Good evening. My name is Tamika Washington, and I'm a resident of Fairwood, Maryland, and a mother of 2 PGCPS students who have been attending our local schools for the past 14 years. I'm asking that PG 50323 be amended to allow seats for elected school board members to participate in the CEO selection process. As it stands under the current law, we are the only county that has a provision where the school board does not have a say in the process. This should not be. Allowing the board to participate establishes a positive and collaborative working relationship from the beginning. When the board has no say in who the superintendent is, it can set the stage for a potentially challenging working relationship, which we've already seen in the past. Please listen to the residents of this county who are asking for a more open process and allow board members who represent us to have a role in the selection process. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. You're welcome. Mr. Greg Smith. Greg Smith. Okay, Ms. Janet Parker. Oh, I'm sorry, I see him. I move fast. Okay, I'm sorry. 1 second, Ms. Parker. Mr. Greg Smith.
No problem, Madam Chair. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I urge the delegation to vote unfavorably on this bill. I agree with many of the previous speakers. This is an attempt to concentrate an extraordinary amount of powers and an undue amount of power in the hands of the county executive. I understand why this bill had to be late filed. It's been the issues with problems with the school board and the superintendent have been pretty well documented for a long time. So I urge you to report unfavorably on this legislation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Okay, Ms. Janet Parker.
Very quickly, no. So just no on this bill, no on this bill, no on this bill. You've heard the testimony of the residents, and we don't like this bill at all. We've asked for amendments, and that's fine if you're going to change it entirely to what PGCEA is saying, to what other residents are saying. But as it stands right now, the way that the bill is, no, no, and no, and no. And I think it's very interesting that people previously testified about the politicizing of Prince George's County, the school system, and things of that nature, but they're not on this bill testifying about how this is really can be construed as a power grab and a consolidating power into one specific office. And it should not be like that. It should be a bunch of balances throughout the county offices that we have, and one issue. We saw what happened last time when we had one person using a CEO and a third, and we see that's what we had Maxwell, and yet somehow we still have that. But I digress. They should this particular bill, no, and no, and no, no. All right. Y'all have a day. Got to get back to watching the kids.
Enjoy the game. Thank you, Ms. Parker. And we have Ms. Latasha Ward.
Good afternoon, members of the House of Delegates. My name is Latasha Ward. I'm a parent of a graduate of a Prince George's County Public School. I am here today to speak in favor of the work group's recommendation on the school board structure. The only part of the bill that does not align with the work group's recommendation is the provision that would establish term limits on elected members. Enacting this would disenfranchise voters like myself from keeping our school board members in office if we are happy with their representation. The House of Delegates does not have term limits, and I do not believe it's necessary for the school board either. Lastly, I asked that the school board be returned a significant amount of power in selecting the new superintendent of the schools. This is best practice across the country and would contribute to a positive working relationship between the superintendent and the board. The board cannot be held accountable for the academic performance of the PGCPS while simultaneously not being allowed to select the person that runs the school. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you so much, Ms. Ward. Ms. Pamela McNeil.
Good evening. Thank you to all of the delegation and all of the residents on the call. I am Pam McNeil. I'm a resident of Landover Hills, Maryland, and I'm a proud product of PGCPS, having attended Glen Ridge Junior High, Fairmont Heights Senior High, and was a member of the first graduating class of Eleanor Roosevelt High School's Science and Technology program. And I was an officer of PGRAS that lobbied for the addition of a student on the Board of Education way back when. And also as a senior in high school, served as a page in Annapolis for the House of Delegates. I then went on to attend Wellesley College at Harvard Business School. After living in other jurisdictions in the DMV and in the New York and New Jersey area, I returned to the county as a resident 13 years ago and have been very concerned regarding the reputation of PGC PS ever since. As a result, please amend this bill to add at least one elected board member to the search committee. While the county executive will select this CEO and the majority of the members of the search committee by adding an elected board of the school board, it will bring representation of the board into the selection process, which is national best practice. As a resident, an elected board member represents the views of the community and adds another perspective to the process. Let's demonstrate a collaborative process by amending this bill to include an elected board member to the search committee. And I support my other residents who have also addressed that, I would be in support of more stakeholders being added to the search committee. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ms. McNeil. And our final speaker is School Board Member Shayla Stafford.
All right, good evening, everyone. And I'm coming to you today as an individual, not as a member of the Prince George's County School Board. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, are you able to turn your camera on?
I am driving at the moment. Give me just 1 second here.
Okay, we're going to ask. Okay, we're going to ask. Okay, perfect. Please pull over, be safe. And as my chair of judiciary say, we don't want you breaking the law. He tell us delegates that all the time in judiciary for Zoom testimony. So I'm just mimicking him. And I'll come back to you one second. Right. Ms. Crutchfield had a question.
Well, I was hoping to be able to speak on behalf of this bill.
Okay, so let me put you on hold for 1 second and go back to the school board member. Okay, thank you. Ms. Stafford, I'm sorry about that.
Opportunity to speak with you all. Oh, give me 1 second. Yes, I have. Radio off? Is there a radio on? Can that? Okay.
Hold on 1 second. Sorry. 1 second. I apologize.
No problem.
Hold on for a second. Good evening, everyone, and I thank you for this opportunity to speak before you this evening. And I want to just also mention that I am speaking today personally, not in my role as a school board member. And so really what I'm here to ask for is for more stakeholder input in PG 503-203 and to allow this bill to be amended.
You're freezing up. You're freezing up.
Board members.
Madam School Board Member, you are cutting out.
We can ask her to present.
Yes, I will. Are you able to?
As it stands in the current law, we're the only county that has the provision where the board does not. Okay, I'm sorry. Can you hear me now?
No, you completely cut out.
Get the camera off. I think that may help.
No, you look like you're frozen. So if you could just submit just a written testimony, that'd be great.
Okay. Okay. I'm wondering, can you hear me now? I turned my camera off. Is that better?
Yes, you could proceed. Go ahead.
Okay, sorry about that. Thank you, everyone. Okay. So as I mentioned, as it stands right now, we are the only board that does not have a say in the selection process of its CEO. And there's really no reason for our county to be singled out with a different process. Really, this matters because, as it's been said before, it truly is national best practice. The hiring and supervising of the superintendent is the most important function of a board of education. And we are in an extreme minority of boards that do not have any say in the selection of a superintendent. I think this is really an effort to promote democracy. Elected board members represent the majority of the citizens of this county, and we represent the views of the community. It also is important for accountability. Structurally, this presents a situation where the board would have no ability to hold the school system leader accountable on core issues like test scores, maintenance, and transportation. And the board would have to manage someone that they had no role in hiring. Lastly, I just wanted to mention that I think that our board, the Board of Education in Prince George's County, is uniquely suited to do this work. On our board right now, we have national and regional leaders in literacy, family engagement, and culturally responsive education and school innovation. And by adding a board member to the selection committee, it would establish a positive and collaborative working relationship from the beginning. When the board has no, thank you, I'm sorry. Okay.
That's okay, thank you. We have a lot more to do during this hearing.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Please submit your written testimony. Ms. Crutchfield, of course, you're welcome. I recognize you signed up for the wrong bill. I will quickly let you go as our last speaker.
Okay, great, thank you. So we're asking for the amendment to PG 50323 to add seats to the selection committee, which include elected board education members. And the reason for that, this is unnecessary dynamic, makes it impossible for the board to hold the superintendent accountable for the student achievement or closing gaps. For example, a board might say if students do not achieve certain literacy goals by a certain time, there would be consequences. That is not the case with our current contract, as the CEO isn't selected by the board and has to agree to be terminated. The board cannot demand resolutions on systematic challenges that impact student learning. For example, thousands of students arrive late because we have over 200 bus routes that are delayed or missing and kids come to school late. I see it often as an educator. Other reasons why this is critical: we're putting this appointment in the hands of the board inherently allows for more stakeholders' input. We need the stakeholders' input. I would even say add the county to the selection. That's my personal opinion, and it's personal to me with the election of the superintendent, because as an educator in Prince George's County for the past 20 years, I have 31 years of education. I see how it's important that we choose a superintendent that all stakeholders involved will make the final decision. So I thank you for amending this bill in order for there to be elected board and a part of this bill selection. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you so much, everyone. That ends the testimony for 503-23, and that is a testimony for the Education Subcommittee. Again, as Chairman Charles indicated, please submit your written testimony as soon as possible. And look on the website for any changes to our weekly 9 a.m. Meeting, which we will be discussing Wednesdays at 9 a.m., in which we will be discussing these bills. It will be for discussion for members only. Thank you so much. Mr. Chair, I turn it back over to you.
Thank you, Delegate Tolles, and thank you for everyone that brought forth comments and recommendations for the education bills. We understand it's a very touchy topic, so we want to make sure we capture everybody's input. So please submit those written testimonies. Thank you so much. Now we're going to move forward to the Law Enforcement Committee, which is chaired by Delegate Mary Lehman. Delegate Lehman, are you available?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chair, thank you so much. So we're going to open up the Law Enforcement Subcommittee part of this hearing now. There are 4 alcohol-related bills and 1 Sheriff's Department bill, and the first bill on the list is PG 30223, House Bill 436. That is being put forward by Chair Charles. Mr. Chairman, we are going to have our committee or delegation counsel, Shane, summarize the bill, and then I'm going to ask that you call the witnesses. So Shane, can you give us the summary of PG 30223, House Bill 436?
Yes, the bill authorizes the holder of a Class B beer, wine, and liquor license in the county to serve beer, wine, and liquor by the glass for on-premises consumption. It also authorizes the holder of an entertainment permit to contract with promoters to publicize, sell tickets for, organize, produce, or stage an event, which may include patron dancing and entertainment. The bill also limits inspections done by the Board of License Commissioners to no more than 2 times in a calendar month, unless the holder has given prior consent or the inspection is being conducted in response to a complaint. Also, with certain exceptions, the bill requires the board to provide a license holder a report of an inspection within 2 business days after the inspection. The bill also requires the board to publish a list containing the number of inspections conducted of each licensed premises in the previous year. And finally, the bill requires the board to publish and maintain a list of penalties for violations of alcoholic beverages laws in the county.
Thank you, Shane. We're going to start off with Jahar Abraham. Mr. Abraham, are you available?
Yes. Thank you to the delegation.
Stand by, Mr. Abraham. Let me get our legislative director to put the timer up for 2 minutes.
Okay.
All right, there you go, Mr. Abraham.
Thank you to the delegation and Chairman Charles for your leadership and listening to the residents and business owners in Prince George's County. Before I start with my short and brief testimony, I just want to give a shout out to those young students from Prince George's County Public Schools. I think y'all did a great job. Keep fighting and we'll continue to support you. But to the business at hand, Delegate Charles, I think it's important that as a Prince George's County Public School graduate, also as a person who do business in this county and reside in this county, I think it's terrible that a lot of people in the industry that I'm in, the promotion, entertainment, music business, have to go to neighboring jurisdictions to do business because we have some laws that don't quite make sense. One of the things as a promoter, and I managed a band in entertainment for years in the county, promoters not being able to put their names on promotional events cause promoters to go to other jurisdictions to work. Many of them live in Prince George's County. Also, the frequent visits to establishments that we have performed in over the past 20 years by the liquor board has also created problems. And then lastly, I just want to say the constituents who want to buy bottles of alcohol for their tables, for their birthday parties, adults are being told that they really can't do that in Prince George's County. So the people in our industry lose because they have to go to neighboring jurisdictions to have parties and events where they can buy the kind of alcohol that they like. Thank you again for your leadership, and I appreciate the time of the delegation.
Thank you, Mr. Abraham. We're now going to move on to Mayor Kashina Cross.
Thank you, Delegate Charles, and thank you to all of the delegation and those that are responsible for this bill. I am in favor of the bill, Delegate, though I do have a request for an amendment that while I respect the need for the board to be a selection process, it is not inclusive of the impact zone areas enough. The same issues are formulating in the selection, again, of the police accountability boards where the communities impacted have little or no say. The local municipalities of Prince George's are partners in every process of the county. Please consider the local municipalities' leadership, your mayors, your presidents of the city council to sit as temporarily on the boards of licensing and permitting, especially in these issues of alcohol. And I do push a plug for the future regards of the cannabis licensing and dispensaries. Those of us who are charged with the voice of the citizens we represent must be expanded in the boards that the county is selecting to include the representation of the people in the impact zones of these permitting. It is important that we acknowledge that the section 26-2606, police departments, fire departments, and health departments is what I am presenting, as well as the board at any time prohibiting the conditions and the restrictions of the type of entertainment. Thank you for the opportunity to speak, Delegate, and thank you again, everyone, for your attention.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Kenneth Mundy. Mr. Mundy?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm here, sir.
All right, stand by 1 second. Tasha, can you make sure You set the timer to 2 minutes.
Yes, I have it.
Right,
Got it now.
Mr. Monday, it's now on you.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon to the delegates. As a CEO and an owner here in Prince George's County of a restaurant and lounge, I am very, very in support of the bill due to the fact of the matter is that we would like to have our peoples that come to our county able to get all the benefits that come with having the enjoyment of, live entertainment, alcohol beverages, things of that nature. So they don't have to go to Virginia or Washington, D.C. if they live in PG County. So, I just want to make sure that everybody understands is that, it's definitely a responsibility that we all must take on as far as being tip certified to be able to understand someone's alcohol consume and how they conduct themselves. But we do need to make sure that we're able to keep our residents in our county, to keep our people coming to our establishments, because what's happening is, to all the delegates, what's happening is that our residents are going to other situations. They're going to Washington, D.C., they're going to Virginia. So that means not only are we losing revenue, we're losing participation of trying to make our spots better for, different generations that keep coming up that want to have a good time with safe environment to party in. So thank you for hearing my, my testimony today. I thank y'all so much. Hopefully I was short and understand it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Monday. We're gonna now move on, and Tasha, you can reset the timer. We're gonna now move on to Anthony's Ruffin.
Hello, Chairman Charles.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you hear me?
We hear you loud and clear. There you go. We're gonna start the timer for you.
Okay, great. Right now?
Yep, go ahead.
Okay, good afternoon, delegation, and all who are on this call. I'd like to first thank Chairman Charles for his support. My name is Anthony Ruffin, and I am a Prince George's County home and business owner. Today, I'm here to testify in support of Bill PG 302-23. I own and operate Nipsey's Restaurant and Grill in Upper Marlboro, Maryland, where I currently have 35 staff members, which 90% are Prince George's County residents. And many of the current liquor laws that govern Prince George's are antiquated, which costs us revenue, and they don't give us enough guidance to assure fair regulation of businesses in the county. They cost us revenue in business because we cannot operate and offer the same service that our neighboring jurisdictions can pertaining to bottle sales. And we can't use promoters to assist us with marketing to grow our businesses, which is critical for the survival of small restaurants such as mine in the county at this time. And then oftentimes, and from my personal experiences in Prince George's County, Black businesses and some brown businesses with liquor licenses and special entertainment permits who cater to Black patrons are unfairly punished and overregulated with inspections and fines. And there's no clear guidance or data on what the standard is. In short, we've been harassed and bullied in what we feel like is no recourse. Passing this bill is critical to assure the fair treatment and the survival of small restaurants such as mine by creating structure and guidance to provide oversight that business owners with liquor licenses can refer to assure fair treatment across the board. And it'll allow us to compete with our neighboring jurisdictions to create additional revenue so we can continue to thrive and contribute to the economy of Prince George's County. Again, I'd like to thank you, Chairman Charles, for allowing me to testify on how important this bill is for our continued survival.
Thank you, Ms. Ruffin. We're now going to move on to Curtis Rice. Mr. Rice. All right, we're going to move on to Mr. Mike Brown. Mr. Brown. I saw him on earlier. Mr. Brown. Okay. We're going to move on to Maria Adelmas. Miss Maria Adelmas. All right. Next, Dwayne Nutt. Dwayne Nutt.
Yep, I'm here.
Okay, Mr. Nutt, it's up to you now.
All right.
And Tasha, can you set the timer at 2? Yep, there it is.
Sure, thank you. So I'm a promoter, resident of Greenbelt, Maryland. And the current law restricts promoters such as myself in terms of doing business within the county. It's kind of funny. I just did an event at the MGM. The MGM kind of does not follow the regulations or guidance of the county. As such, I was able to put my entertainment company name on the flyer for my event at the MGM, in which we had over 2,500 occupants at that event. I have an event tonight that is at Ivy City, and I'm having to stir my patrons and my supporters outside of the county to jurisdictions or cities that enable me to do bottle service, that enable me to provide hookah service at those venues, and that are more lenient in terms of the use of marijuana. So as such, trying to do events in the county, we're handicapped. I have a number of venues in PG County that reach out to me in terms of being able to support and do those venues. And as such, I'm handicapped in terms of enabling to push those venues that definitely need the support of us, need the support of our entertainment. And as such, I literally have to keep pushing my events to venues in the District of Columbia, as opposed to doing venues here within our county. So I definitely support the legislation, which will enable me to do what I do best in PG County, as well as it will make it a level playing field. As such, the clubs and venues in DC, they're doing bottle service, and I have folks that tend to gravitate to going to venues into DC because that's what they want to do. They do not want to do champagne. They do not want to do wine. They want to do bottle service of other forms of alcohol. So I'm clearly in support of this measure. It'll enable me to do what I do, and I've been a lifelong resident of PG County and taxpaying customer and a resident within PG County.
All right, thank you, Mr. Nutt. Where I saw Maria Adelmas chime in. Is Maria, are you available? Maria? Okay. We're going to move on to Marcus Slaughter. Mr. Slaughter? Okay, I'll go back. Curtis Rice, are you still there?
Yes, good evening.
Who was that?
Hello. Good evening.
State your name. Oh, Marcus Slaughter. All right. There you go.
You able to hear me?
We can hear you.
All right, thank you. Good afternoon, and thank you all for your service. I'm currently a marketing consultant that works with several different venues in the hospitality industry, and I've consulted in other jurisdictions along the Mid-Atlantic. And they are able to enjoy the ability to be able to accommodate and attract other sorts of clientele that I believe, in my opinion, best in the best interest to be able to offer a variety of options along with premium options to our county residents, so that they can celebrate their special occasions and milestones within the county that they reside. This can help us to continue to stay competitive and help us to stay competitive and with our neighboring jurisdictions. We have a unique situation where we share these borders, and a lot of our patrons are going and celebrating their pivotal moments in other counties and other cities in Virginia and Washington, D.C. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Slaughter. Saying that there are no other witnesses for this bill, I'm going to pass it back over to the chair of the Law Enforcement Committee to move forward with the additional.
Yeah,
bills.
thank you, Chair Charles. I believe I saw that Delegate Barnes, Darrell Barnes, had his hand up. I'm not sure if he still has a question about this bill. Delegate Barnes, are you there? Did you want to ask a question?
Yes, thank you so much, Madam Chair.
And I just had a couple of questions, I guess, for those that just testified in regards to the bill. So let me try to understand so I can impact what's going on. You guys want to have the ability to sell bottles of alcohol within your establishments. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
All right. And what is done with the unused bottle that someone purchases at your establishment?
If we are able to sell it, are you asking what would be done if something is left over?
Yes, ma'am.
We would have to, I mean, we hadn't thought through that far, but we would have to collect it. Obviously, they wouldn't be able to take it out.
Okay. And then where would these so I guess when you're selling bottles of alcohol at your establishment, you're going through your regular distributor to purchase the alcohol?
We can't purchase alcohol from anyone other than the regular distributor.
Okay.
Delegate Bonds. Delegate Bonds, this is Kenneth Money. Yes, sir. We have actually thought that we understand due to the pandemic, the rules was amended that you could take liquor outside the premises. But we know that that's after the pandemic. I think May the 11th, that will be disregarded for the pandemic will be over with. So anyone that comes to our establishment, whether you buy a drink between the hours that we are able to sell our drinks, you cannot take any liquor outside our doors. So any bottle service as far as champagne, wine, or liquor service that has been sold to a patron, after you are done having your festivities inside the establishment, it cannot go with you outside the front doors because you can't have any liquor in the parking lot in our establishment. So we have thought past that. That's a rule that's in the book of the handbook of the liquor board. Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Madam Chair, I see Mike Brown came back. Mr. Brown, we'll offer you the ability to give your testimony.
Yes, I just like to add that I've been a promoter in the DMV area for over 10 years. And in PG County particularly, I've witnessed myself as a promoter a decline in the clientele because you can't buy the bottles. And I think it's just an option to the patron of the establishment. You know, if they want to buy that, I mean, they can buy it in DC, they can buy it in VA, but in PG they can't. It's the DMV. I just think we need to pass that over and give everybody an equal opportunity. Also, it would help me as a promoter to, have the clientele that I need, that so they can feel comfortable in purchasing what they need. That's all I need to add.
Mr. Chairman, Delegate Tolles has a question.
It's just a quick question. Just a really quick question. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just had a question, I guess, for Chairman Charles or Ms. Coleman. Do we have testimony from the Prince George's County Police Department? I noticed that there were some changes in terms of inspection. So do we have testimony from them in terms of this bill?
Nothing has come into my understanding from the police department or from the liquor board.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other questions on this bill? And we will invite certainly folks to listen in on the upcoming law enforcement subcommittee hearing on these individual bills. Mr. Chairman, if that is it for PG 30223, I am ready to move on to PG 30623. Are we ready to do that?
Yes, ma'am. The floor is yours.
Absolutely. Okay, so the second bill of the 4 alcohol bills before us today is PG 30623, House Bill 438, Prince George's County Alcoholic Beverages Stadium Beer, Wine, and Liquor Licenses. Could our delegation council please summarize this bill for us?
The bill makes a few clarifying changes, but primarily it authorizes the holder of a Class B baseball stadium beer and light wine license to also sell liquor for on-premises consumption.
Thank you, Shane. And I believe the reference to stadium is a baseball stadium, namely, I believe it's the Bay Sox Stadium, unless it applies to any other potential stadiums in the county, which I do not believe so. Is that the case?
I believe it. I'm not entirely sure about that, Madam Chair, but I can say that there is only one, I believe, Class B stadium license allowed for baseball stadiums. So I would assume that's the case.
Thank you. Thank you for the clarification. And we have just two witnesses on this bill. The first is Brian Shallcross. Mr. Shallcross, are you here?
I am
Brian.
here.
Brian, okay, thank you. And you have 2 minutes. Madam Administrator, Ms. Coleman, do you have the timer up? I'm not seeing it.
Yes, it's up.
Yes, I see it now. Go right ahead, Mr. Shallcross.
All right, thank you. My name is Brian Shawcross. I'm the general manager of the Bowie Bay Sox. I've been with the Bay Sox 20 years, 18 as general manager. I'm testifying in favor of this House bill, and I appreciate your time. Just want to give you some notes on alcohol service at the Bay Sox. We've been at the Bay Sox since 1994, and we just recently signed a long-term lease. We have served alcohol since 1994. Important to note, there is no tailgating allowed at our stadium by rule of Maryland National Capital Park and Planning Commission. At every Bay Sox game, there is a uniformed sworn park police officer. Our concessionaires are required to complete professional alcohol training. During the last 20 years, we've had over 3 million patrons to see the Bay Sox play. And of those 3 million patrons that have come through our gates, less than 10 have had incidents of alcohol. In every one of those instances, those patrons arrived at the stadium inebriated. We've had 0 alcohol arrests at Bay Sox Stadium for Bay Sox games. Also important to note, over 75% of all food and beverage sales are non-alcohol items. Alcohol sales are cut off after the 7th inning. And baseball, for those of you who don't know, are 9 innings. So after the 7th inning, alcohol sales are cut off. And my final point is simply that drinking alcohol at the Bay Sox is extremely expensive, and that's by design. We really don't want people to drink and overserve. Of course, we're checks and balances there as well, but we are an expensive option for drinking, and that is by design to maintain our family-friendly atmosphere. We are just in support of this to give fans a broader array of choice for an alcoholic beverage at our stadium. Thank you for your time. And again, we stand in support of this House bill.
Thank you so much, Mr. Shallcross, for coming in right under the wire there. And the second and final witness we have on this bill is Mayor Lily Thompson Martin. Mayor Martin, are you with us? Mayor Lily Thompson Martin? No? Okay, Mr. Shallcross, I'm going to ask my colleagues if anybody has any questions about this bill. I did not mention this bill is being put forward by Senator Ron Watson. Mr. Chairman, I'm not sure if we have a House sponsor on this bill as well. The only name I have is Senator Watson. Does anyone have any questions for Mr. Shallcross from the Bay Sox?
I do, Madam Chair. And
Delegate Barnes, yes, go ahead.
Yeah, and thank you for indulging me since I'm not on law enforcement. So Phil, let me just ask, you said that, so explain to me how the bottle service would work at the Bay Sox Stadium. Is that for those that are in a suite or a private room, or if I'm sitting in the stands, I can sit there and order me a bottle of liquor?
No, we have no intention of allowing that. What we would be serving is ready-made drinks, so a can. We have no intention of selling bottles.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Or shots or anything like that.
Fair enough. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
I'm sorry, that's all. Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. And final call for Mayor Martin. Is she with us? Okay, I do not see her. So with that, that closes the hearing on PG 306 23, House Bill 438. The next bill is PG 30723, House Bill 1014, Prince George's County Alcoholic Beverage Licenses, Prohibition on Transfer of Class A Beer, Wine, and Liquor License. This bill is being put forward by Delegate Alston. We have a pretty long witness list. Before we get to that, could our delegation council please summarize PG 30723?
The bill prohibits the Board of License Commissioners for the county from approving the transfer or sale of a Class A beer, wine, or liquor license. It also requires that a license that has expired to be returned to the board. And finally, it prohibits the board from reissuing a license that has been expired or returned to the board.
Thank you for that, Shane. We do have a list of about 12 or 14 witnesses. So if everyone could please try very, very hard to stick to the 2-minute limit. The first witness that I have listed is Mr. Jim Spiropoulos. Mr. Spiropoulos, are you with us?
I am.
You are. Okay. And Ms. Coleman, can you start the 2-minute clock, please? Go right ahead, Mr. Spiropoulos.
Hello, Mr. Chair, Madam Chair, and members of the delegation. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak with regard to House Bill 1014. I'm opposed to this bill as it would irreparably harm small businesses like mine. I own Town Center Market in Riverdale Park. I have been a part of the small business community in Prince George's County since 1988. I employ 16 people, 9 of which are minorities. All but one of my employees live in Prince George's County. We have a group health plan in place where I pay for 9 of my employees' premiums in full. None of my employees are minimum wage earners. My store plays an intricate role in regards to the community in which it resides. My store is frequently referred to as a community hub. In 2012, my family built a new store. We spent $1.25 million to purchase the building and another $1.2 million to build out the store. We have been blessed to be healthy and to have the support of the residents of our county and town. Today, we still carry a large mortgage on the venture we embarked on in 2012. One day, I hope to be able to retire. With that said, my retirement plan is largely tied to the value of my business. Without a transferable license, the business that I have spent my entire working career building would be devalued to zero. I would prefer to not have to work my entire life to keep Town Center Market alive. The reality is, at some point, it is best for every store owner to recognize when it's time to leave. Businesses often benefit from new ownership. Even though I think I run a good business, I hope to be able to sell my business someday to someone who can make Town Center Market better than it is today. In closing, please consider the impacts of this bill and how it will harm small businesses that generate tremendous revenues for our county. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Spiropoulos. Good job. Keeping it to 2 minutes. Next, I have Linda Carter. Ms. Carter, are you here?
I am. Good evening, Madam Chair.
Just a minute. Let me make sure the clock gets started so we give you your proper amount of time.
Thank you.
Ms. Coleman, thank you. Go right ahead, Ms. Carter.
Thank you. My name is Linda Carter, and I'm an attorney that has practiced in the alcoholic beverage industry since the beginning of my career more than 40 years ago. And I have the pleasure of representing many of the people that are going to testify before you tonight, but I'm not here tonight as a paid lobbyist. I'm here on behalf of an industry that is going to be adversely affected by this. There are 141 active Class A package stores operational in Prince George's County currently. They are all family owned. Many of them have, as Mr. Spiropoulos does, significant SBA loans or owner finance loans from when they purchased the business. Under this bill, if a licensee were to die, the license dies. That doesn't kill the SBA loan. And as I'm sure you all are familiar with SBA loans, the guarantee is the borrower's home. So the wife loses her husband, she loses her home, and she loses her business. That's not what this county is about. My clients, this industry, they're hardworking people. And the average liquor store employs 10 people or more, most of whom are Prince George's County residents. These stores generate more than $15 million a year in sales tax. I can give you 100 legal reasons why this is a bad bill, but just from an emotional standpoint, do we really want to live in a county and work in a county in which we cause businesses to die when the owners die? I don't think that's what this county is all about. Thank you.
Thank you again for being under the time limit. We appreciate that, Ms. Carter.
Really
Next,
good for an attorney, right?
yeah, it's just a long, evening if people go over, and so we do appreciate your sensitivity to the clock. The next witness I have is Chris Patel. Chris Patel, are you here? Chris Patel. Okay, I'm going to go on then to the next witness, and I could circle back with Chris Patel. Next, I have, I'm not sure how to pronounce this, Gautam.
Yes.
Gautam Patel.
Chris Patel.
I'm sorry. The person speaking, all I can see under your name is Penmar Liquor. Are you Chris Patel?
Yeah, I'm Chris Patel.
Oh, then go ahead, Mr. Patel, but I am going to ask, there you go. Ms. Coleman has started the 2-minute clock. Go right ahead, please.
Okay, thank you. Good evening, everybody. My name is Chris Patel, and I'm on a small shops in Prince George County, but I'm against this bill 307. This bill has is in equality in these bills. I mean, there is no other industry or any other type businesses have this type of clause. In my absences, my family are able to support and live with these businesses. You know what I mean? So hopefully this bill will not pass. I'm against this bill. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, I have Gautam Patel. Is
Yes.
Gautam?
Yes. Good evening,
Yes.
everyone.
Yes. Hold on.
My name is Gautam Patel, and I'm the longtime resident of Prince George County. Also, I'm the Class A liquor license owner with the property, and I'm against this bill because this bill not giving any power as a owner to transfer or sell the licenses, and it will ruin my investment. So I'm against this bill PG 307. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Moving right along. Next, I have Tushar Vadaraya. Tushar Vadaraya, are you with us? Tushar Vadaraya. I can come back to you if we see you. I do not see that person. Next, I'm going to call on Rahendra Patel. Rahendra Patel, are you with us? Rahendra Patel. Okay. I will move along to the next witness, and I only have a first name for this person, or first or a last name, one name, Ramesh Bai. Are you with us? No. Okay. Next, I have Mayor Lily Thompson Martin, who I believe has joined us on this bill. Mayor Thompson Martin, are you with us?
I'm in. Good evening to everyone.
Go right ahead.
Yes, yes, I need the clarity on this bill, but from what I could gather, I just gotten some last minute notice to join today. So I am against I don't know whether it was the transfer or the what the coordination was as far as this bill passing, but I'm not in favor of anything that's going to give the favorable response to the number of liquor stores increasing in our community. We have been run out totally. I think it's only in reference to the liquor stores. We're concerned about those carryouts that are selling all the other accessories that go along with the liquor and everything else that's being sold. So I came on in that response to this evening.
Thank you so much, Mayor Martin. We did have you listed on the previous bill as well. I don't know whether that was a mistake or not. So I'm glad you were able to join us. Also, I believe I just saw.
I'm right here, Tushar. I'm right here.
Yeah, previous witness. I'm sorry, Mr. I'm not sure how to pronounce your name, Tushar
Yes.
Valdaraya. We are happy to have you testify in this bill. You have, Ms. Coleman, can you reset the 2-minute clock? You have 2 minutes. Tushar, go right ahead.
All right. Thank you, Madam Chair, Chairman Charles, and members of delegation. I'm Tushar, and I'm opposing this bill because the normal driver's license, pharmacy license, and any form of the doctor's medical licenses are fundamentally different from a liquor license. These licenses are issued on the basis of the individual skills, and the recipients must complete 4 to 6 year college degree in order to obtain them. This shouldn't be transferable then, but the Class A year wine and liquor license, however, is based on the business organization. It cannot possibly be compared to the other individual licenses. Alcohol licenses are typically provided based on community needs and a thorough background check of each applicant. You can obtain an alcohol license without attending school. When a person applies for license, the Board of License Commissioner thoroughly investigate every aspect of the person, including their background, criminal record, moral character, commitment to abiding by all the laws and regulations, including the greatest job, ID check. The license doesn't have any monetary value. The value of business license is always based on the business location, customer base, the amount of time and the money invested when starting the business, revenue, and all other factors necessary to raise the particular business to the certain valuation level. Besides which, the furniture, fixtures, cooler, all the equipment, the different IRS, state, and the local government elements also includes in the goodwill and the price. Our wonderful state of Maryland has always been supported small businesses, and Maryland always stands for the small businesses. That's why we have invested our life savings in the state of Maryland. Also, the leasehold improvement is the most important factor. If an individual or business entity suffered a loss, they would still be responsible for the balance of the lease, and that is the liability enormous. Liquor establishments are subject to valuation just like any other business. A license is given, and the licensee is the representative of the business entity liable to the local liquor board. Thank you for giving me the opportunity for testify, and thank you for your service, all the delegates.
Absolutely. Thank you for finishing right on time as well. Next, I have Balwinder Singh Chatha. Balwinder Singh Chatha, are you with us? I do not see that witness. If he or she appears, I will call on you. Next on the list, I have Mihir Patel. Mihir Patel, are you here? Mihir Patel, okay.
I am here.
Yes. Oh,
I'm here.
okay. Can you, you're using, I guess, Tushar's computer or camera. Can you turn
I am on my phone and I'm
I'm sorry. Somebody, yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
I see. You're joining us by phone. Go right ahead. Wait, let me ask Ms. Coleman. Ms. Coleman, please start the 2-minute clock. Yes, go ahead, Mr. Patel. You have 2 minutes.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for having me on this meeting today. And I'm strongly opposing this bill because it will absolutely affect my livelihood and it would absolutely detrimental to this industry. That it will absolutely affect negatively to all these individuals has invested their livelihood and trying to pass on their business to a next generation who wants to participate and do a business in Prince George's County. And being in Maryland, my daughter is born in Maryland and would like to potentially participate in this business later on down the road, will have no impact on this if this bill goes on. So I will strongly oppose this bill, and I request all the delegates to kill this bill and give us a minority who wants to live in this America and wants to live this American dream. Please help us to live and our generation to live our dream for years to come. Thank you, and thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us, Mr. Patel. I see that our colleague Delegate Valderrama has a question. Go right ahead, Delegate Valderrama.
I was going to wait till you're done with all the panelists.
Oh, okay. Okay. So we have, let's see, by my count, 5 more witnesses on this. Next, I have Juskinder Gill. Juskinder Gill, are you with us?
Yes, ma'am. Good morning, and good morning, Madam Chair.
Yes, you have 2 minutes. Go ahead.
Okay, I just want to say, just like many people already said those things. So I worked for Pizza Hut 25 years when I came this country 40 years ago. And every penny I save over there, all the stock options to my retirement 401, I invested after the company went to the franchise. And I worked for company side 25 years. And those all the savings I put over here. Plus I got $800,000 SBA loan those days. And I was thinking I can retire one day. I'm 61 right now. And his last few days, I lost my sleep because of 3-4 years I've been planning to retire and enjoy my life because I worked so hard in my life. I just want to thank you very much. Just think about the people we have, all many gray hairs here. When I came this country, I was like maybe have no hairs on my face. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Gill. Next, we have Vikram Kansal. Vikram, are you with us?
Yes, Delegate Muslim, I'm here.
Yes, and you have 2 minutes. Go right ahead.
Thanks, Delegate Charles and the chairman and all the delegates in here. I would like to strongly oppose this bill. I'm a Prince George's County business owner here, and I'm in more than the business for the last 7-8 years, which I took loans to basically create and make it thriving. I personally feel that this is going to be a disaster for the small business, which Prince George's County always strives to promote. And I think it's going to have a long-lasting impact on personal savings of everybody and the members who share my thoughts. Like Ms. Carter said about how it impacts the people's livelihoods and how it is going to impact their savings and their retirements for people and their households. It's just a disastrous bill, and we would like to oppose it. And it's like, I'm just comparing to the fact that, for example, you pay your mortgage for 30 years. And after you own the house, you just tell them, hey, listen, you don't own your house. This is really disastrous. I don't think this bill should be anyway entertained in the delegation, and I would really request the delegation to oppose it. And my opposition says that this should not go forward at all. Thank you, and thank you for the delegation for giving me a chance to speak.
Thank you for that. Next, I have Gosani. Gosani.
Mary, I think you're frozen.
Look at the list. Stand by.
She was on Gosani, now it's Bhupinder Singh.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, good evening to delegates and everyone else. This is Bhupinder Singh. I am here from Maryland Farms Liquors, Beltsville Spirits, and I own this business for almost 3 years. I've been in the hospitality business for almost 14 years. I sold that business and came to liquor business. And right now, currently, I'm employing about 10 employees. They're mostly locals, and they're all happy to work here. And I'm totally against this bill, opposing this bill, because all my life's earning, all them years I worked in the hotel and prior to that, and working now, I'm planning to down the road to thinking about getting retired. So the way this bill is going on, it's really upsetting me, and I cannot move on to, I cannot sell this business or transfer. That would be losing all my assets, down the road. So I'm totally against this bill. I'm done. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, sir. We're now going to move on to Latasha Ward.
All right. Thank you so much for the opportunity to be able to speak about this bill.
What I wanted to say is that having a liquor license, nobody own it. It's a privilege that the state or the county allows people to pay to get these liquor license. As far as just like like an insurance license, a person have an electrical license, a chiropractor license, or whatever, you can't transfer those things. So even if you have family members that you want to be in the dentistry business, they have to be able to, have those backgrounds. So even with the marijuana license, those are not transferable. So I don't understand, why, so many people, I guess they're talking about, hey, let it be transferable. They can sell their business at that location, but I don't think that a person can have a license in Temple Hill and then try to transfer it to Woodmore. I believe that they have to be able to go through the process just like everybody else. And if those people sell those businesses, to give the residents of Prince George's County who don't own those licenses the opportunity to own some of those licenses. Because most of us don't own those licenses at this particular point. So we have a lot of people that's ruined our communities. They don't reinvest in our communities, but they want to continue doing business here. But let somebody go have a need in the community, they don't help out our community. They tear down our community. But it'd be nice if they want to sell their business, the location or whatever the case may be. Whoever want to buy that business, they still have to reapply. I don't believe that it should be transferred to somebody else, but they should be able to go through the process just like every other business owner. So that's my piece on it. And I'm a business owner as well, and I lived here all my life. So I would like to be able to see people that look like my community own some of those liquor stores.
Thank you, Ms. Ward.
That's it.
All right. And Tasha, please put the timer up for the next set of bills. But I see we do have questions from Delegate Valderrama and Delegate Holmes.
Thank you, Chairman Charles. So I wanted to wait till all the witnesses testified, and I'm glad I did. After hearing all the testimony, but especially from Attorney Linda Carter about the stats and the demographics of small business loans that are out there and family-owned businesses, especially from Mr. Sparopoulos, who I've known over the years and heard his testimony. And now hearing Ms. LaTosha Ward's testimony, I assume I know I'm not sure I know the impetus for this bill, but given the serious negative impact that it has on small businesses and family-owned businesses, I wanted to ask Delegate Alston what her rationale and impetus was for putting in this bill.
We'll pass it on to Delegate Alston, and then we'll come back to Delegate Holmes.
Thank you for the question. A couple of things. These liquor stores are proliferating some of our established neighborhoods. The poison that's being sold is not a good thing for those communities. On Branch Avenue, there are places where you have 4 and 5 liquor stores side by side. On Marlboro Pike, you can go out on the corner and look and see 3 or 4 liquor stores. We have to find a way to decrease the population of these liquor stores and the density that's taking place inside the Beltway. So I understand how the business owners feel as a business owner myself, but I also understand that having a license to operate a business is a privilege. It is not a right. And we may need to sit down and talk about ways to transition out, but having a number of liquor stores inside the Beltway is unacceptable. It's been a blight. It's caused crime to rise. It's causing health problems to rise. It is a health emergency if we cannot start getting rid of some of these stores and replacing them with healthier options. So I understand the business perspective, but we have a public health disaster on our hands right now with the proliferation of these stores. And unless and until we start controlling it better, we're going to continue to have these problems where our citizens can't eat healthy food because they're being shoveled with liquor day in and day out, and there has to be a better way.
Okay,
so that is the impetus.
Thank you for that, Delegate Alston. And I had a feeling that was the impetus. I just wanted to hear it, but I would likely to respectfully request, obviously there are bad characters out there, but we have a good percentage of good characters that are out there, including the folks who have testified before us this evening. I would respectfully request that there be some serious consideration and work around this bill so that it would not negatively impact family-owned businesses who are the good characters in our county. So with that, I appreciate it. Thank you, Chairman Charles.
All right, Delegate Holmes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I have a question about the word transfer. I don't understand what kind of transfer we're talking about here. Are we talking about transfer a liquor store from one location to another? Or are we talking about transferring a liquor store ownership from one person to another? Let me give you an example of why I'm asking this. If I'm a real estate broker and I want to retire as a real estate broker, I can transfer my real estate brokerage to someone else. So is this transfer, the word transfer from a person, or is this transfer talking about location to location?
Mr. Chair?
Yes, go ahead, Delegate Austin. I'll let you answer that question.
It's talking about the license itself, being the transferability of the license itself.
So basically then, in my real estate business, if I wanted to transfer my real estate business to my daughter, this bill applied to me, I could not do so. I understand now. Thank you very much. I appreciate your clarification.
And your real estate license is non-transferable, by the way. Thank you.
That is not the question. The question was the real estate brokerage, not the real estate salesperson. The question is real estate brokerage, just like a liquor license for a particular establishment. Thank you very much for the clarification. I got it. I understand.
Thank you.
Delegate Barnes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Is Linda Carter still on the line?
Ms. Carter? So, I do see her on here,
Yes,
Delegate
good
Barnes.
afternoon or good evening. I guess the stars are out.
How you doing, Ms. Carter?
Whoops. I apologize. I'm having problems hearing you. Hold on one second, please. Let me try it again. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, sir.
All right, so my question is, and I think this is what Delegate Holmes was alluding to, and Natasha Ward has spoke in regards to, and that is the sale and transfer of a license. Should I own a liquor store and I wanted to sell my liquor store, but part of that sale is also my liquor license. So if I sold my liquor license along with my store to Delegate Charles, would he not have to go through the same steps or requirements to make sure that he doesn't have any criminal records or anything to obtain this new license?
That's correct, sir. And you'll have to forgive me. I'm no longer on video because I'm in my car, but I'm not driving. So anytime a new applicant comes before the board to either acquire an existing license or go on a new license, like in the case of restaurants, they have to undergo a criminal background check and they have to be qualified by the board to be fit and proper people. If you're buying an existing business at an existing location in Prince George's County, you don't have to go back through trying the case as in the case of a new application. So you don't have to prove public accommodation, but the fitness of the character, the fitness of the witnesses is definitely before the board.
No. Thank you, Ms. Carter.
You're more than welcome, sir. Thank you.
All right.
And thank you, Delegate Barnes. And Mr. Tushar, just to FYI, questions are only for the delegates. So unless a delegate has a question for you, you won't be able to ask your question. It had to be in your testimony. So unless there's a delegate that has a question for you. Delegate Tavares. Delegate Tavares.
Yes, Mr. Chair. I do have a question, though. I guess I could direct it to, is there somebody here from the liquor board represented?
Unfortunately, I have not seen anybody from the liquor board on the call today.
Well, I don't know if there is, if we can inquire into the fact that it is my understanding, and I don't know, it's something that we could look into, whether every liquor store has to re-up their license every year on the by a certain date in March or April. And if we could look into that, I don't know if it's in January, March, or April. I think like every liquor store, every restaurant that has a liquor license, everybody has to re-up on their licenses. And if we are aware of those dates, that's when you would essentially organize against the closure of any liquor store that is a problem within the community.
So you're just,
I'm
it's not
just
a question anymore. That was a statement or more so a conversation we need to have with the liquor board?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Well, we'll move forward with that. Take that on consideration and talk with the liquor board. Delegate Lewis.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My question's simple. I was just asking what Tashar wanted to add to the conversation. That way he has a chance to chime in. So I want to know what he wanted to say.
Thank you, Delegate. No, I just wanted to say about we just heard about liquor stores are selling the dangerous stuff, right? And creating the increasing the crime in the community. No, it's not. Each and every corner of a county, check lately, like in last 3 years after the pandemic, each and every corner of our county has a 24-hour tobacco shops. Liquor stores are closed down on certain time period, after a certain time period, but they are open 24 hours. Why? There is no need to open tobacco shops for 24 hours, right? So that's the thing I wanted to say. And also, that's not true. Many of you aware that liquor stores have participated in many community events. We always give back to the community because we are just because of the community. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tushar. Hearing no other questions, and I see the chair for the Law Enforcement Subcommittee is back from her technical difficulties from her phone. I'm going to hand the reins back over to her to finish the last few bills we have for the Law Enforcement Subcommittee. Delegate Lima.
Thank you. Yes, thank you so much, Mr. Chair. I'm not sure what happened. All of a sudden, I found myself kicked off, but hopefully we can wrap this up soon. We do have just 2 bills remaining on the law enforcement docket. The next one is PG 30823, House Bill 433. It has to do with the Office of the Sheriff's duties and deputy sheriffs, and I would like our committee counsel to please summarize that bill for us.
The bill increases the number of full-time assistant sheriffs provided to the sheriff of Prince George's County from 4 to 5. The bill also provides that the Fraternal Order of Police will negotiate on behalf of deputy sheriffs in benefit matters that are not related to salary. The bill also clarifies that the Office of the Sheriff may investigate domestic violence calls and that the office is not required to transfer those investigations to another law enforcement agency.
Thank you for the summary. We do not have any witnesses signed up. Mr. Chair, I understand this bill was put forward by Senator Jackson and Delegate Long. Delegate Long did inform me he could not be here, but if there are questions, I believe Delegate Harris may be able to answer them. If colleagues, does anyone have any questions on this Sheriff's Department bill, PG 30823? Any questions? Okay, then we will look forward to discussing this further in the Law Enforcement Subcommittee. So the final bill for law enforcement, the final bill of the night is PG 30923, House Bill 946, Prince George's County Alcoholic Beverages, Main Street Laurel. This bill is in transition. It will look different, a little bit differently by the time it gets to the Law Enforcement Subcommittee. But if I could have the Delegation Council summarize it for us.
The bill authorizes the Board of License Commissioners for Prince George's County to issue up to 5 Class B DD licenses to restaurants located within Main Street Laurel, from Washington Boulevard to 9th Street, between Patuxent River to the north and Montgomery Street to the south.
Thank you, Shane. And I believe we will hear from some of our witnesses about those proposed boundaries and the number of licenses. With that, Mr. Chair, I am going to do what we normally do and extend a courtesy of having our 3 elected officials who have signed up to speak. I don't know if they're all with us, but I have Mayor Craig Moe and City Council members Martin Mitchell and Carl DeWalt on here. So I'm going to go ahead and start with them. Mayor Moe, are you with us?
I am, Madam Chairman. Thank you very much. Can you hear me okay?
Thank you. And you have 2 minutes. Go ahead.
Great. Thank you very much. To members of the delegation as well. I want to first apologize for this bill coming in late. We had some miscommunications, but we are prepared to work with several of the businesses in our Main Street area. That also picks up the Arts and Entertainment District as well. And to the 21st delegation, again, we apologize for the mix up here, but thank you very much. The bill does provide up to 5. We believe that we can change that to 3 BDDs, development district licenses for the restaurants located within the Main Street Laurel area. And that would be from Washington Boulevard northbound to 7th Street between the Patuxent River and the to the north, and to the rear of Prince George Street to the south. Does need several of those areas are residential, so we'd have to clean this up, and we can provide you the language within the next day or 2. Thank you, Madam.
Thank you for that, Mayor Moe, and for your patience with this being the last bill. Next, I'm going to call on Council Member Martin Mitchell. Councilman Mitchell, are you there? Martin Mitchell, are you with us? I do not see Councilman Mitchell right now. Councilman Carl DeWalt, are you with us? Councilman DeWalt.
Yes, I'm here, Mayor.
Oh, you're here. Mr. DeWalt, thank you for turning on your camera. Ms. Coleman, can you set the clock for 2 minutes, please? Thank you. Councilman DeWalt, go right ahead. You have 2 minutes.
Thank you very much. Delegate Chair Nick Charles, and all the other members of the Prince George's County delegation, I am honored to speak to you tonight. I am in my 3rd term as a Laurel Council member. I moved to Laurel in 1985, so it's been 38 years. I live 1 block from Main Street, where I've lived for 38 years. All we heard year after year after year is the revitalization of Main Street. Well, it's been a very slow process. The good news is from 5th Street to 7th Street, we have 3 well-established restaurants. All are unique in their own way, and we actually have a newcomer, Acapulco, which is totally different than the previous 3, and he's making a big hit with our citizens. There's also plenty of parking because several years ago, the city turned a vacant lot into parking. So from 5th Street going west to 7th Street, we're good. Now the other part, the much larger part of Main Street. You go from 5th Street east to the train station, American Legion Post 60, it's a different story. There's a couple takeout places, 2 coffee shops, but no established restaurants that are thriving. We now have plenty of parking. The city just completed our a new parking lot with charging stations, a permeable surface, and solar panels. What's ironic is this same location used to house the historic Petrucci Dinner Theater, and then it became a comedy club. When it was a comedy club, that place was packed on the weekends. They also had packed houses, even expanded it to Thursdays and Sundays. What we are really lacking in that whole section, the biggest section of Main Street, is either a few good restaurants, another comedy club, which would thrive, or even a brewery to draw people
Mr.
to
DeWalt,
that part of Main Street.
if you could try and summarize, Councilman.
Okay, thank you. Because of, we do have an art district, but the only thing about an art district that the city has already put in art council, we lack live music. And the constant complaint is from them business owners on Main Street is that getting a permit for live music is very expensive and very complicated to obtain. Helping truly revitalize Main Street would be a welcome endeavor. I support Ordinance PG 309-23. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you for being with us. Next, we have Martin Mitchell, Councilman Mitchell, did he join us?
Yeah,
I do not.
I'm here.
Oh, Councilman Mitchell, thank you. You have 2 minutes. Ms. Coleman, please set the clock. Thank you. Go ahead, go right ahead, Mr. Mitchell.
Greetings, esteemed members of the Prince George's County House Delegation. I am the at-large council member of the city of Laurel. I would like to offer strong support for 309-23. I have been a Laurel resident for over 25 years, and I'm happy to call it home. I have a vision for Laurel that many people share. When I spoke to people on the campaign and after, they've wished for continued Laurel revitalization, especially of Main Street. One of the common themes when canvassing Main Street and throughout the city was hope and desire for the city to have more responsible adult fun in the city. Many Laurel residents, myself included, do not always want to go to Baltimore City, Washington, D.C., Virginia, or Montgomery County. Laurel is unique and is a dynamic, small but growing town, but has the potential to be a place where everybody can live, work, and enjoy entertainment. I appreciate the local business owner, Chris, for being a part of the historic Laurel Entertainment District and actively trying to move Laurel forward. I would ask the delegation to support PG 309-23 because it will help Laurel's Entertainment District reach its potential as a one-of-a-kind entertainment district that is thriving, brings in tourism, and strives to have multicultural arts and entertainment. As always, I appreciate the delegation, especially the hardworking team from District 21. Thank you and happy Sunday.
Thank you, Councilman Mitchell, for being succinct. And so then we're going to move on to Latasha Ward. Ms. Ward, are you still with us? Latasha Ward?
Hello, yes, I'm here. Yes,
Yes, go right ahead. You have 2 minutes.
Yes, thank you for the opportunity today to speak. Just to tell you a little bit about myself, I'm a business owner. I have a group on Facebook, over 35,000 people from the DMV area that own businesses. And when I found out that, a friend of mine was in Laurel that had a place for about 2 years called Notes and Jokes, that he wasn't able to actually get a liquor license, definitely that concerned me. So I definitely support this bill. If you're gonna have comedy, if any of y'all ever been to a comedy show, having like some wings and some drinks or whatever the case may be, it goes with the atmosphere. So definitely I'm hoping that y'all can support this bill because we all need to laugh out loud. So thank y'all for your time, and I look forward to seeing y'all at Notes and Joke one day.
And thank you, Ms. Ward, for your testimony. Next, I have Christopher Ojo. Mr. Ojo, are you with us? Chris, are you there?
Yes, I am here.
Oh, there you are. Okay. And Ms. Coleman, if you could reset the clock. Good to see you, Chris. You have 2 minutes. Go right ahead.
Yes, my name is Christopher Ojo. I am the CEO of Notes and Jokes here in Laurel. I am here with some of my associates. Notes and Jokes is a comedy club that offers relaxed atmosphere and wide variety of comedy acts, from stand-up to improv, as well as live music and other entertainment. Notes and Jokes is a subsidiary of First World Entertainment, and with a beginning date of 2015. Long story short, we've been on this location for about 2 years now. We've not been able to really roll out and start functioning, but I really appreciate the leadership of the mayor of the city, who has really jumped on this, and the entire 21st delegation, and also to mention the the chair and the delegation of Prince George's County for trying to push this through. We really appreciate it, so we can keep our money and our entertainment local and move the community forward. Thank you, Councilman. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate this, and thank you.
Well, thank you, Mr. Ojo. And finally, the last witness I have on my list is Rudy Anthony. Rudy Anthony, are you here?
He's not here. He texted me earlier and told me he wouldn't be able to make it.
Okay, then with that, Mr. Chair, that closes out the witness list on PG 30923, House Bill 946. And that is the last bill on the docket for law enforcement. Our normal meeting day and time is Thursday at 9 a.m. look on the county website, please, for the agenda for this coming Thursday. And I imagine I will see some of you then. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Delegate Lehman. And for those who do not know, tomorrow, Monday, is the Economic Matters Committee's alcohol bill hearing day. So a lot of the members in our delegation will be tied up all day hearing bills throughout the state, addressing alcohol-related bills. So the bills that we heard today and the other bills that we have within the Law Enforcement Committee, we'll have to get those bills on the docket to be voted on and addressed this week. So if there are any amendments or any other issues with bills, let's make sure we have that ironed out by the time we get to Thursday. Because once we get to Thursday, we'll have to take a position on those bills so that on Friday, when we have the open delegation meeting, we can vote those bills out and have letters of support or non-support go to the ECM committee so they can move forward on their bills. The chair was very explicit with it. They are moving very fast on the alcohol bills, so we will need to get those bills out this week. So Delegate Lehman, we'll be adding all of those bills. You'll have a very fruitful Thursday trying to get all of the alcohol bills out. So I ask that everyone provide your amendments or any suggestions or whatever you have for any of the alcohol bills, and those bills will be voted on Thursday. Thank you. And since we are done with all of the testimony, I'd like to thank everyone for taking their time. We started off, I think we had about 120 some odd people that chimed in that wanted to be a part of this process with the county House delegation. So we appreciate every single one of you. And thank you to our members, our hardworking members of the Prince George's House delegation for taking time out on a Sunday after church, getting this work in. And so we truly appreciate you. For the ECM members, good luck tomorrow as you sit through all of those bill hearings and then have to turn around and be on the House floor at 8 o'clock at night. So thank you for your hard work and service. And for that, I'm going to ask for a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
Second. And I want to thank you, Chairman Charles, for your hard work as well. We
Thank you, Latasha. Thank you, Latasha, for putting everything together.
Thank you, Latasha. Yes, Latasha.
Thank you all. Thank you all.
everyone.
It was wonderful. Thank you.
Good night,
All
everyone.
right, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Enjoy your Sunday.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.